Well, hello again, happy folks. Alright, so, long story short, yeah, that was a good little test, I suppose. But alright, so, a couple of quick notes that I wanted to point out here. So, basically yesterday I was going through and trying to test a little bit more of this version just to see what was going on with it and all that. And just to see if some theories held up, which, the big theory still kind of remains to be proven here. But I can't help but notice that, yeah, it's gotten to the point where, despite the fact that these guys are drastically over-leveled, because of the fact that everybody's stats are just plain higher across the board, we're not really seeing that same situation of a single class run being... Like, granted, this is a complete curb stomp because this class is overpowered as all hell. We're talking a case where they were 10 levels ahead just now, and they were still taking hits up to about 80, which, quite frankly, was... Well, I mean, hell, it just wasn't something that happened, at least not that often, in the original, in the US release. So I'm not super sure on that. But either way, then, currently I'm thinking it might hold up that way. Alright, let's go ahead and do the trader fight, as it were. Like, oh man, I sure hope you're not here for all those dudes we have in the basement. Exactly what he says, word for word. Yeah, this fight, absolutely hilarious if you're doing a no-item run. So I always kind of like the design of this castle. Or rather, a no-skill run, I should say. But yeah, I always like the design of this particular area. Just something about it feels like a castle in the snow, and it's funny because there's basically no snow on this particular map. It's just, I don't know, something about it feels that way. I think it might be, well, I mean, the windows help for sure. They have some snow outside the windows, I suppose. But just everything about this map just feels like if I were to imagine, a kind of castle throne room type area in the snow, it would be like this. So interestingly enough, it's kind of funny how many times, despite having a throne room somewhere, it doesn't actually have a throne. Actually, I want to say the only time in the series where you actually see a throne during a fight is going to be, in Night of Lotus, when you end up attacking the castle there. But yeah, so, complete curb stomp still. I'm still curious to see how the, how a, not exactly tool-assisted, but AI-assisted speedrun of this would end up going. Because yeah, with fast forward, we're at about the 2-hour mark. When I was originally looking at the thing, it was 4 hours, so 4 hours appears to be the number to beat. Now, I think using this method, it's possible, especially considering we didn't really need to hire anyone new. And this is allowing about 30 minutes, give or take, for setup. So if I were to figure out a way to do that a little bit quicker, maybe just dedicate a single class to making it all quicker. Actually, probably just go full archers from the very start. Never really bother with the extra stats on anyone, because quite frankly, it wasn't even that worth it. But yeah, right here, 10 level difference, he's still able to take out Denim without much of an issue. But I feel like this version definitely kept the balance of the SNES game rather than what we ended up getting. Now, overall, again, it's just a feeling at this point, just the overall feeling of how I've seen the numbers flying around so far. The reason that I've been calling this game the, kind of quote-unquote missing link and all that kind of thing, is because for the longest time, the PSP remake made no sense to me. So, like, oh yeah, how are you our enemy? How can they be? The answer, I think it's this one. Let's see if he joins. Like, oh man, I'm convinced by that blur of text I didn't understand. Alright, there we go. You go ahead and join up. Yeah, he starts off with 30s and 40s and everything, as per usual. Funny part is, at this point, our generics are actually above him. Pretty much equal for dex, a little bit lower on vitality, equal strength, agility. Yeah, this makes more sense. Like, this overall balance just makes more sense. Because at this point, it's like, okay, they've gone through and they've got, they've all gotten some experience, and by this point, your generics would start dropping off already. You would start noticing that your uniques are way the hell stronger. Though, granted, they're going to remain stronger. Some of them end up still getting RT bonuses. which I can't help but notice is WT in this one. Interesting. But okay. So yeah, like Canopus here, he's still flying a decent bit above everybody else, but it's not as far as the original, I have to say. So yeah, not perfect by any means, but definitely something. Yeah, see, 263, he's getting 288 out of that similar damage situation. Yeah, with even with a ring, that doesn't quite change that much, although he doesn't have bow skill right now, so let's go ahead and, well, we can't quite do that quite yet. So he's just going to be like that for a little bit. Moving right along here. It's funny that in neither version you can set AI from this menu. Feels like you should be able to. Alright. Got Mr. Dude Guy out in the snow. Right, now let's go ahead and interrupt here. Get Yunin his turn. Yes, 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 you're going to talk. See, this is around the point where you would have a chance to recruit Ravenous. Which is the funny thing, like, I don't know how they expected people to do it right off the bat. Actually, I really like what Chronicle Valeria did, wherein they added different ways to recruit her in different parts of the game. But yeah, actually, I really liked a lot of the recruitment things that I'd heard about in that game. Like, you can recruit Lennar and stuff as well, which I think One Vision's planning to do at some point, to let you save Lennar and get Ravenous in other places, but either way, that's mechanical stuff that needs to be changed down the line. You leave that tennis ball alone. Yeah, I know, you can wag your tail as much as you want. You're not getting that tennis ball. I know you're excited. But anyway, so, moving on here. No one's quite shown up yet. I'm sure this will show up eventually. But whatever, we're just gonna chug along here. I guess the current commentary is more for the eventual video version of this. But yeah, so yeah, I can't help but notice that the numbers are lining up for this one. Now, I said before, like, the whole missing link thing, right? It's just, given the rest of the series, the PSP version always seemed like, you know, there's something there, but it doesn't feel right. There's something not quite right about it. And if this is how the numbers were originally supposed to go, that makes complete sense. I mean, the classes aren't balanced, let's be frank. In most of the series, the classes are just not going to be balanced. The archers especially, it kind of seems like they went for an homage to the original, more so than actually rebalancing anything. But yeah, they are still taking damage. Like, they're not getting to the point, as Rakes put it yesterday, as far as the different stats go, the way that they toned it down meant that by the end of the game, while your characters maxed out their base stats, the AIs were still at about the 30 to 50 range, give or take. So you had 100, they had 30 to 50 or whatever else, depending on what area you were at. That obviously went higher if you went towards certain bosses and things like that, which is why there was kind of a stark difference between, like, okay, this guy over here is just completely non-threatening and just fell over from a stiff breeze, whereas this one over here, you know, takes a dedicated class to kill off and all that kind of thing. So, yeah, if you've ever wondered why the stats were so jacked, that's probably why. Which also makes me wonder how dragons are going to hold up in this version. Because on top of everything else, definitely feels like the way that their damage goes is supposed to be more like the rest of the series as well. See, do I need to get fast to get on the rides? I don't see why not. I mean, you might be able to get one. Sure, we've got enough money in the bank for a fast pass here. Let's see. Yeah, we've got like 12 grand laying around. Why not? That should be just enough for one entry into friggin' Disney. Man, that place is expensive. Had some relatives go down there recently. Oh, sweet friggin' goodness, it is dire down there. Like, it's... I was joking because there used to be a thing where it was $24 funnel cake. Apparently, it is... It's still, like, it hasn't adjusted for anything. It is still friggin' $24 funnel cake down there. For reference, that's the thing you usually get for like $4 at the fair. But yeah, everything's crazy expensive. I'm gonna go ahead and save it here since I haven't hard saved in a very long time. Such is life. But yeah, so yeah, I wouldn't call it balanced, but this version makes sense. Like, this feels like a remake. The thing that bugged me about the original, or the US PSP version, like I said, this is even after 7-something years of it. First time through, okay, but then after After getting to Chapter 4 the first time, after seeing the end game, nothing felt right. Like, the early parts felt okay. Like, you know, some of the points didn't quite make sense, but it felt like they balanced it for something else, and yeah, it turns out that this is exactly what it was. So they had balanced it for this version, they had balanced it for all your characters having higher stats throughout the game. So yeah, that's why you wound up either, you either caught up to the game and did okay damage, or you didn't metagame it and you wound up with characters that absolutely sucked. That's the usual everything scaled down to 1 type situation. Now, after testing it a little bit farther, yesterday when I was going through it, I think that theory on the spears is true, because around the point of Chapter 2, like, the spears are still holding up better than they did in the US version. They're still not super amazing, but still, though, it feels more like the SNES version. Like, if there was one phrase to describe how the entire that balance change seems to affect things, it's exactly that. It feels more like the SNES game than an MMO. Again, balance still sucks. Get one vision, it's amazing, but it's just an interesting thing to see. So yeah. Because as you can see, I haven't needed to actually give a command to anyone in probably over 20 fights now. Just because these archers are so friggin' OP, it's not even funny, though less OP than they would probably be by this point. Because yeah, the stuff can actually resist them to some degree. Bear in mind that they have a 10-level advantage now, which would be downright unheard of at this point in the game. So yeah, usually the AI would just fall over like nothing. They would be able to do 1 damage, but they're actually hurting these guys. So again, just a nice thing to see. Yeah, we're already doing okay here. I mean, granted, these guys don't really have armor, but still, usually Vitality by this point was enough to make it that way. Now, I'm gonna slap some armor on him just to see if it makes more of a difference in this version. Let's slap some Balder on you. What we got for leggings? We got some mail. Yeah, you could have some pretty heavily armored archers before. Yeah, let's go full Balder. There we go. See if stuff starts plinking off him. Now go check out our castle. It's a sweet castle there, guy. I'm sure nobody's gonna attack it from the front, because that's a good idea. Potato! It's the Order of Nuke Stick. Is that like, what hole did they crawl out of? Or like we came out of the nuclear hole, just like over there next to your little, what is it? Your little moat here. Yeah, sorry if I sound a little slightly nasally today. It is just snowing down like crazy everywhere. It's all cold and crap. Stuff's all frozen, and as a result, we had to go and turn the heating up, which resulted in the interior being way the hell too hot, and resulted in the outside being actually kind of comfortably cold. So yeah, however that works. So now we're gonna see if Denim takes any damage. He might at some point. Yeah, when we do the eventual speedrun thing, we're not going to be fast-forwarding through it all. Now, out of curiosity, let's take a quick peek at these guys, because apparently, according to what I've heard, they do still, like, vaguely have the same stats. Yeah, our guys are just higher stat-wise in general. There's no way to tell for sure whether they scale. But yeah, these stats are looking a lot more like what I would probably expect. But yeah, so yeah, it's nice. It's nice to know that during all those interviews, they totally were talking about a completely different game. And it's funny how much of a difference one little decimal makes, because even ignoring the AI changes, I don't know how extreme those are, but ignoring that, just the fact that, you know, there's still the ability for these characters to, you know, at least somewhat hold up. Still an improvement. Still not great, but it's still an improvement, you know. See, 1908, you're getting closer? What? What happened in 1908? I mean, what? Somebody, figured out they could plant corn? I kid. I know. That's been around forever. Though it is funny how, as far as agricultural history and all that goes, you do see some really strange stuff, like the fact that the watermelon for as simple as that thing is, that's a project that's been going on for hundreds of years now. As in, apparently, I think they said it was like the 1700s that they found the first, or no, it was even before that that they found the first signs of somebody trying to mess with a watermelon, and it was apparently like this little apple-looking thing that was just a big old ball of seeds with a little bit of flesh in between. And apparently it was having a hard time surviving because of the fact that it just didn't have enough flesh for anything to want to bother. Typically when it comes to fruits and all that kind of thing, the deal is that they end up getting more and more flesh in there in order to try and get stuff to eat them so that they can spread their seeds. So if you ever wondered, that's kind of the natural evolution of how that goes. So they do have a point with the whole being edible thing. But anyways, so yeah, apparently it was the Mayans, I want to say, that were shown to be doing the first version of messing with them. So yeah, that worked out pretty well, I suppose. There we go, another fight wins itself. Another one bites the dust. You know what? That's what they should have gone with for this version. Just call it another one that bites the dust. Alright, let's go fight Apollinaire. Hello, Apollinaire. Nice dark castle you got here that's completely not illuminated by that giant fire pillar you got right next to you. So yeah, current optimal speedrun strats, as far as I'm aware, seems to probably be, I want to say neutral's probably the quickest. I mean, I'm not sure. I need to double check that. I would figure between all of them, neutral might be the quickest, just because of a few little changes that happen. Namely, there's a few more maps where you might be able to fly up vertically and take out leaders before anything else. So it might be a case where I have everybody else on AI just kind of running around taking out grunts, and then I have Canopus going in for the kill every time. So that might be an option. Yeah, aside from that, I don't know. Let's see, Demon Potato Mashing, 1908. Oh, nice. Yeah, really what you need on that fight, on the Demon fight, is you just need, I told you, you just need to break his legs. And then at that point, you should have enough to be able to take him out. Like, are you getting to the point that you're actually running out of ammo more consistently than you are getting beat? That's usually the point when it turns around. Because at that point, it just becomes a matter of accuracy rather than figuring out how to get out of their patterns consistently. And all that sort of thing. Yeah, you know what? This fight, too. Their AI does seem to be functioning like they did in the SNES version. I mean, it came out on the PS1 too, but hey. So yeah, if you've never played either one of those old versions, the AI tended to hold back a lot more. Until you were in range, they usually wouldn't charge. Now, when it comes to these castle fights, one of them, I want to say, Zabos Neutral, if I'm... No, it wasn't Neutral. Maybe it was Zabos Law. The point being, there were only a couple times where in this kind of setup where you had like a boss surrounded by their dudes, that they would actually just sit there, because, I mean, they're there to do their last stand. They're not there to go and get themselves killed. So, there's no reason for them to run ahead and charge. So, anyway, in the original version and, well, in a few other ones, yeah, in the original one and some bits of this one, it seems, the AI did know, like, okay, I need to stick back here, I need to be safe. And that's the thing, you see that AI come up every now and then. Which, again, just made it seem really strange that it wasn't there more often. And I've been noticing that, yeah, it does seem to happen more often. So, this... I wonder why we got such a jacked version then. I mean, it's really nice to see, because it just kind of restores my faith in this whole thing here, because the original version, like, it bugged me for a long time. It really, really bugged me that somebody put this much love into a thing, and then it's like, oh, I'm sorry, we just killed the balance for no reason. Because, yeah, the running theory was always that they made a remake. They made a full-on remake, and then basically said, screw it, you know, we want to go ahead and make it an MMO instead. And in this version, it feels like the MMO stuff is just kind of there if you want it. Like, one theory that I want to check on here, okay, right? Go to the ranged weapons here. Has this become... Yeah, this is already 52 to 58. So this is almost 10% higher than it was last time. So, okay. Why I'm excited about this thing in particular. So when it comes to this game in general, one of the big complaints was the fact that you had this crafting system with fail rates, but then it never made sense. Like, you'd think, you know, it had this background system where over time, the better your character's stats got, the better your odds got. So the better your collective stats are throughout your entire army, the better your odds are at crafting. So anytime you lose somebody, your odds go down, that kind of thing. I guess it's just supposed to be some way of them introducing an expertise system of sorts. So I can't help but notice some of these odds are way lower, but the ones that are of the appropriate level are appropriately higher. So that's an interesting one. Definitely an interesting one to me here. Like, see, Crystal? Like, Crystallos here, I believe this is 60 to 70 up to Chapter 4, as far as I remember in the original. So yeah, just in general, it seems like this makes more sense. I still hate the fact that it has fail rates, but this makes more sense. Like, it feels like somebody actually thought about this. Anyway, so might as well make some of those bows that are missing. Let's go for this one. I think I need 4 more. So that'll... Yeah, this crafting system still, for lack of a better term, completely sucks donkey balls, but it, you know, still though, if the stats were causing it to improve its odds over the course of the game, that would mean that a lot of it was less intentionally mean. Now, what I mean by intentionally mean, there's a lot of challenges that are in the title system in this. Just kind of like self-imposed challenges, and they're like, okay, you know, if you beat it without ever having somebody get knocked unconscious, or if you beat it without ever losing a single unit, and you get to all kinds of different points in the game, you unlock songs and that kind of thing. You know, it's a neat little, you know, long-term thing. Damon just landed on your head. Yeah, he does that. He's kind of a dick. It's like, hey, guess what, Chuckles? You're not gonna win. And then you win, and it's all hilarious. Like, but yeah, no, you'll get it. He's not. Once you get his pattern down, he's definitely manageable. He's not 2448. Like, seriously, between Ultimate Znida, Damon, and 2448, Mr. 48 is just the most difficult as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so let's go to these bows here. Get some more longbow +1s. Actually, I should probably look into whether or not there's a mod to turn the original... maybe to use this stat system for the original. That might be a little bit easier to show off. Probably not, but oh well. So yeah, that bow used to be 45% to make. So it's nice, it's nice. Like, again, I know I'm reiterating myself, or reiterating over and over here, but this feels like somebody thought about it. This feels like somebody actually bothered to playtest this version. So that's why I'm so happy about this right now, because, yeah, it does feel like somebody tried. It wasn't, like, just slapstick together. Like, how on earth, between 2 different, more or less identical versions, you wind up with a thing where one of them has 10 times higher stat growth than the other is insane. Okay, so Old Man Jones is over here. I just want to double check real quick, because I think if you take this fight, Vice dies. If you take the other one, he lives. I'm not 100% certain, but we'll see. We'll see if he joins. But we're about to reach the big tester moment, though. So the level 30 wall is coming up very soon. It's probably going to be a couple battles here. So about 5 minutes. I mean, again, this isn't exactly any kind of challenge right now, but the fact that they aren't completely bowling these guys over, they are still taking damage. That's really nice to see. Like, okay, 25% dodge, or 25% hit chance, that's fine. But he still had a chance to do 100 damage. So, yeah, that would have been like 20 in the US version. 25% chance to hit, 20 damage from a freaking, like, dragon super move. Because their vitality scaled to the point where just the AI cannot even keep up at this point. Because, again, that whole stat thing in the background, unless I'm misunderstanding this, which, you know, Mr. Rakes if you're here, or if anyone's here. I just assume if I ask if Rakes is here, he just kind of magically appears. It seems to happen more often than not. But anyway, if anyone's here to correct me on that, please let me know. But I believe by this point, every time I've done a single class challenge, by this point in the game, they don't take any damage anymore. Like, they've stopped taking damage around the point where it's like 8 levels or so. You know, without armor or whatever else, they just don't take damage anymore. Alright, so... yeah, I'm actually a little bit surprised I haven't gotten interrupted yet. I was expecting that any minute now. I got a Brigandine too. Slap on that Brigandine, son! Also, yeah, the, all the weights and stats and things seem to be the same. Whatever, just boost his attack a little bit. Now we go over here. Let's see if we can make it through this whole thing. 1058, almost had it. You got this, man! Got it, Mr. Cowman. Alright, so we are now at a 12 or... yeah, we're now at a 12 level advantage over these guys. So the fact that they can even slightly do damage is, well... yeah, 34 on a counter, so that would likely be anywhere between 60 to 120 that they would normally be doing. But yeah, we ended up getting false flight here because they went ahead and shot down one of the cockatrices. So this mechanic right here is what allows One Vision's revision of the shamans to actually work. So if you've never seen that one, or no, I guess we got misstep actually. So if you've never seen how shamans work in that one, essentially Gamp has a whole thing where he will heal himself and throw out a map-wide debuff. So like weaken, let's see, weaken, false strike, false flight, and all that. So because of that mechanic, Rakes is able to rework it into other things. Which, for example, in the case of the shamans, they're able to control the weather, so they make it rain, and then reduce ranged accuracy on top of the rain penalty, so it basically completely ruins archers entirely. And on top of that, there's the one to basically turn the sun on. And now I'll be right back. That's the interruption I was waiting for. So give me like 5 minutes, give or take. Alrighty, and I'm back. Continuing on. Gamp showed up here, was all like, squiggle, 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 squiggle. And, you know, we're not gonna exactly take that, but, you know, we just gave him an angry stare and he teleported away. He didn't actually have a gem on him. That's how life works. Alright, are we almost there? Yeah, 28. We're getting there. I want to say the experience rates in this one are lower, too. Because up till this point, with the, using this exact same route, and actually, let's see. Yeah, I don't think I even had any grinding in that one. I still wound up with level 30 back in this castle fight. So, I don't know. It was, yeah, during Apollinaire that was the big scary one. Alright, whatever, let's do this thing. And then we'll go back to Tynemouth for the 30 wall. They're like, oh man, we took your castle, what you gonna do about it? I'm like, well, for one thing, we could actually bother to use the gate for once. But nobody ever bothers to use the gate. Such is life. Yeah. I want to say dragons feel a little bit bulkier in this one, but still with a little bit more flexible health. Could be wrong on that. Because yeah, at this point they are at a comical disadvantage level-wise. We're more than almost twice their level. But they're still able to do damage. They're not doing ones. Even against Denim with his better armor and everything, which again, this is still the point where armor kinda sorta does something, but still, even with armor, there's still a potential for them to do some damage. So yeah. So yeah, having higher stats on everybody does... It's funny. Having higher stats or having lower stats. That seemed to be the thing. So one version takes the lower stat approach. It seems like the Japanese version takes the higher stat approach. Both versions work. Basically with OV, with crafting, they just made it to 100% as it should have been from the very beginning. But if you're gonna have that system, higher stats would be the way for that to be treated. Just because, yeah, then you aren't running into stupid situations like, oh yeah, you've got a 2% chance to craft this weapon after going and, you know, digging through the Palace of the Dead forever. Plus, not to mention, there were several really, really sloggy fights in the original. Again, it's kind of a funny situation because it's kind of what led to a lot of disagreements as far as that game and later on the OV mod. Because there were folks that were coming in like, oh yeah, you know, I could do this, 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 and it would make the game super easy. And that was the thing. Like, that was the actual intended thing that you were supposed to have at that point, it seems. Because if the stats were, you know, the stats are going up 10 times faster in this one, so you're essentially, you know, you just had to do 10 times so much grinding, which is just a complete bummer. Now, the only reason I can think of behind this is maybe they had kind of hoped, like, well, if we adjust this one number, we can, you know, we can adjust the balance of the entire game. Maybe we'll see more characters reaching, you know, rank 8 of different skills, because the skills go up obnoxiously slow. Let's be blunt on that one. So yeah, that part's not great, but yeah, like, let's see, we have been completely raffle stomping the entire game so far. We're still at rank 1 bows. This goes up to rank 8. Rank 1 to rank 2 is quick as hell. Anatomy has gone up to 14%. Right now, if you're wondering how this goes, basically bows and anatomy are splitting their experience between each other, so they're both going to be a little bit slower, but still. Any darn ways, let's go ahead and leave this fight going for itself. Let's get an email to respond to real quick here. It's Mr. Zabos. So like, this is how cool guys die, with his weird face. Yeah, his portrait in the PSP version, definitely worse than his original one. Alright. Also, I can't help but notice TKs, they seem to hold up a little bit better. At least defensively. Which makes me wonder if maybe as far as all their other stuff goes, if it'll work out fine. Alright, just answering an email real quick. Why does everybody always write to me at the most inopportune times? There we go. Conveniently, I don't even need to look at the screen, so yeah. Because archers are OP as hell. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to, like I said, I've been doing a second run of this, just to kind of see how stuff's been holding up. Like, I would figure two-handers probably hold up better, just because they end up scaling a fair bit. I've already tested spears, they seem to hold up better. Cudgels actually appear to do not exactly anything great, but they actually do damage in this version. So yeah, it's just been an interesting thing to see. That's really the long and short of it. It's just been interesting to see what it was originally supposed to be. It's kind of like, you know how people were going nuts when they found the original version of RE2? Where it was the version with the biker check and everything? Honestly, that's kind of how it feels like for me with this one. It's just like, okay, you know, we've here's all this stuff that never made sense about the original. Let's, well, I guess this was technically more original than the original I'm talking about, huh? Any dang ways. Yeah, you know what? Feels like they're... No. Yeah, I'm looking at something completely different here. I was looking at that and thinking maybe they're actually doing proper damage to him, but no. Or doing slightly higher damage to him. But no, it's Phalanx being weird. It's always 90% reduction. Yeah, the whole deal with Phalanx is it's supposed to be like a TP build-up move. Though the AI does not know that you're trying to build up. What the hell? I guess he had one range. What? Yeah, that's weird. So, one thing I can't help but notice, several times now the AI has decided to run up and punch things for some reason. So, not sure what that's about. Okay, so we've hit the 30 wall. Now these guys join up. Nifty. Oh, he survives anyway. Okay, so I don't need to go the other way. In fact, my, Nice. Which comes in with permafrost and everything. Okay. Or is that technically Ixolotls or whatever it's called at this point? It's okay, let's compare her, right? Let's compare her with literally any of the archers here. So. She's actually come in prepared and everything. She is doing less damage. Let's see, she's doing more than one of the basic archers. Her dex is a fair bit higher than this one. Or no, it's a fair bit lower than this one. Yeah, her weapon's way better, though. Let's see, so it was 389, I think was the number to match. Let's see, she does 324. So yeah, if we're looking at the relatively inaccurate damage numbers, yeah, no. She actually does do less. So, uniques come in as newbies. They don't come in super overpowered. They're still relatively overpowered, but still. Like, they're not the friggin' end-all, be-all, what the hell happened here kind of situation here. So okay, let's go and do some Tynmouth, see how they hold up. In fact, let's go ahead and take that bow away from Aircell. You know, I wonder if that was their thing. Like, maybe they just wanted... maybe they just wanted to create a situation where, like, perhaps, you know, they're like, okay, we have all these unique characters, but they're coming in and they're showing up as weaker than all these other guys. Like, but sir, that kind of makes sense. I know, but I want to have my characters show up more. I need my waifus being all super strong-like. Because it would definitely explain why some of the uniques are given an RT bonus. Quite frankly, with all the other bonuses that they ended up getting, there was never a reason for them to have that bonus. It was basically along the lines of, okay, they already are stronger, faster, or no, they're already stronger, more accurate, more skilled, more everything. They're coming in with skills that people likely wouldn't have already, which again seems to line up here, because these are all supposed to be veteran characters, and yet in the original version you had to grind so much that they actually were in a really sucky spot. Okay, you know what? So, okay, let's take a quick peek here, because this is the 30 wall. This is the 30 wall where everyone's coming in with endgame stuff now. They've got dragon armor and everything, all that. they're doing alright. They can break the 30 wall. Now, original archers would be able to completely dominate this by this point, but these guys are able to still reasonably hurt these randos here. Now, this is just Tynmouth, obviously, but it doesn't seem like they're going to lose. It seems like they've still got a reasonable chance to win here. The lizards will probably give them a little bit of an issue. But yeah, at this point, when I did the when I did the archer run of the original, at this point, despite the fact that they could do really high damage, it was still a situation where, by this point, because of the fact that they were just using basic upgraded longbows, they still wound up in a position where they would end up, what was that? That was weird, okay. But they still wound up in a position where they were consistently doing just like 1 damage. So yeah, this this makes sense. This feels more like the kind of balance I'd expect from this game. Granted, this is still hardly advisable, but the reason why I find the 30 wall fascinating here is because again, it's usually a point where if somebody wanted to try this kind of run, they would be stuck. They're just screwed here. But in this instance, they're doing all right. No, they're doing okay. So far, so decent. Even if we take an injury, I just want to see what happens. And they can still dodge. They can still do everything. Their dodge hasn't become completely nullified. It's funny because when I was doing the one with Rune Fencers, their dodge actually was the only thing that could keep them alive. They were getting decent dodge from using their spears, which were pretty much at rank 8 by the time that I got to Chapter 3. Just because the only way that I could actually go do damage on anything was to give everybody Scorpion +1s, and just run around and repeatedly counter-poison over and over and over and over and over. So I just kind of left them doing that. Literally for one fight, I had I had a couple of units dedicated to healing, and I just had them running around counter-poisoning everything for the better part of like 3/4 of a day. So yeah, there we go. The AI can perfectly well handle a the level 30 wall. So yeah, I'm legitimately impressed. This is this was the version that was supposed to be a thing, I assume. Bear in mind, this is without many of the usual stuff that you would expect to keep them going by this point too. So this is without all of the strength and upgrades. This is without a lot of the upgrades. So get those right now. There we are. Okay, let's give you this. Let's give you what I assume is double shot. Anything else you can learn? I think this is trajectory. Let's see. We'll find out. Just have some of these squiggles on your person. Oh crap, I just deleted something. Strengthen, that's what I deleted. Okay. Now let's go ahead and run another one. See how that goes. In fact, the shop might have some better items now. I think I need 9 of those. Too broke for that. That is too broke. Story of my life. I can't help but notice that normally you would hit square up in order to get 99 of something. Yeah. It does not quite function as you'd probably hope it would. Alright, so let's get everybody else siege bows. These are the ones that end up pinning somebody to the ground. That's not OP or anything. So, yeah, siege bows, to give you an idea, using Canopus, so with all of his ridiculously OP dexterity, using him with a siege +1 was still just barely viable at this level. When I, in my most recent run, I was just kind of testing out how different stuff scaled into endgame, and yeah, it was just barely viable once the New Game Plus split happened, just because you would start just bouncing off of everything. Because yeah, their stats still kind of sucked, and their equipment was not enough to make up for it. So, anyway. We'll get crafting books galore. kind of wonder if armor properly scales up to... Whatever. Actually, this is not even the siege bow that I'm thinking of. Anyway, I'm gonna need, looks like, 2 steel, 1 iron per, so I'm gonna need 18 steel, 9 iron. So that's 2, let's see. I hate doing math for this. 27. Shine it. Hang on. Hold on. Six. I'm gonna need a... I'm just gonna make 60 of it, screw it. I'm gonna need about 65 something iron, so let's go ahead and make that happen. Yeah, this crafting system sucks balls, like I said, even with, you know, some sense being made as far as how it goes. Figure out which one of these is which. Alright, there we go. Alright, so we're gonna need a crap load. Okay, we're gonna need some graphite. We're gonna need like 9 graphite here. Actually, no, we're gonna need 18 graphite. What am I saying? Any luck over there, Mr. Cowman? This is, you know, before it turns out that I'm actually going and making copper or something here. Whatever, I'm gonna leave that for the moment, just make sure I have the right ones. In fact, I can probably check right here. Where's steel? It's the one that looks like a little ball. It is this one that I need to be making. Crap. Okay, make 18 of them suckers. Wait, what? That was friggin' bizarre. What? How on earth am I out of my ore? Okay. Anyway, back to it then. These should be iron, so I need like 60 of these suckers. Fascinating content. But yeah, whoever came up with this whole crafting system is a massive dickhead, but again, it just makes me happy to see that there's actually some thought that went into it, not let's just cobble together literally just copy-pasting FF11 and calling it a day. Because yeah, and that's always been the thing that bugged me, that there's so many things that were just incongruous, and now I know. Now I know. I wish I'd known this way earlier, because I probably would have been playing this version over vanilla before One Vision came out. But still. I guess at that point I didn't really know how any of this worked, so I guess all anybody would have had to tell me is that, you know, the balance is different. It makes more sense in the context. It's still not good, but it feels closer to the series norm. And that's usually what I like to see, because quite frankly the series norm has been, you know, imbalanced classes, but overall the mechanics kind of make sense. There's been just the right amount of kind of going back and forth over stuff being overpowered and underpowered. There was usually just enough to make everything fun. You know, add a little bit of flavor to everything. Yeah, less than an ideal system. Makes you wonder why they didn't have like a multi-creation thing. They do have a little bit of a luck roll that ends up giving you 2 sometimes. So what makes me wonder is if maybe stats affect that one too, because I've noticed a lot of times you get towards the end game, you start getting 2 of them more often. It would have been really nice if they had a thing where it's like, for every chapter you're in, you have a chance to roll another one. It's like by the time you're in chapter 4, you're just getting 4 iron for doing this. So there we go. Got all that. Now we get a bunch of these. I need at least 18. No, I need... not 18. What the hell do I need? God dang it, it's confusing how many of these things you need. Need so many sometimes. I need 18 in order to make enough steel, and then I need another 9, so I need 27 bars at least. Which doesn't look like I'll have enough to get here, unless I get a bunch of really lucky rolls. Swears changing his movement patterns after a few hits, he gets snagged in environments, more of that. Yeah, he does adjust. He does adjust himself a little bit. So that's not exactly unheard of. So yeah, Damon, as far as his movement goes, he will adjust a lot for your position and the kinds of movements that you're making. So you normally, like I was saying earlier, what you want to do with a guy is just you try to break his legs as early as possible, which puts him into a consistent pattern with sucky turn speed. So you just gotta keep adjusting. Plus, also, one more thing that I found really helps is to put some nice motivational music in the background. Like, I ended up beating him the second that it turned into the hunk theme from RE4. So I had the RE4 soundtrack going, and it was on the Wesker theme for a really long time. And then it just, for some weird glitch, because it was supposed to be looping that for hours, it glitched out and then just switched over to the hunk theme, and that was the one that I ended up winning in. I was like, man, YouTube knows. They know, man. They've been watching. They're like, oh man, this is gonna be the one. Okay, almost done with this crap. See why the system ain't ideal? Yeah. Even with a fast forward button. Yeah, try doing this crap on original hardware. Though, to be fair, I am trying to outfit an entire team in... Oh, son of a dick, I've been making the wrong ones. No! Alright, whatever. Back to making these. I can sure make a bunch of bronze now, though. Oh yeah, bronze. I mean, if I knew which stat was resist stun, I probably would, you know, go and get them that. Just go make them some bronze helmets, give them that stun resist. See, that was one of those ones that I really liked, where with the helmets and stuff like that, you ended up getting different bonuses for each one. That's something that OV does as well, where you just have different purposes for each helmet and each shield. Like, that kind of stuff, I absolutely adore. Because I remember I was going back and forth between the two versions, and yeah, when I was when I was checking it out, like I'm looking at it and like, oh man, the shields with extra stats and everything like that. Like, Mr. Rakes, can you please add this to one vision, please, please, please? And he's like, okay, it's Christmas or some crap. I'll go ahead and throw it in there. I was all like, oh yeah, this is awesome. And yeah, sure enough, I think the helmets he already had done by that point, but I think. Was it the different impacts on it? I don't know. He added something around that point. It probably was already planned and not even related, but whatever. Whatever, it's out there. Right, I'm going to make a few extra bars here just because I kind of can. And then I got to go make more graphite, because I don't know which one's graphite, apparently. Alright, so it's the one that looks like a puffy meatball. That's this one, which I should have, so why don't I... I guess it's the other puffy meatball up here, right? Why are they in a different order in this version? It's an interesting thing I noticed. The spells have a similar thing to them, where sometimes they're just in a different order than they were in the US release. So yeah, when they multi-used some of these icons, that's what's getting me confused here. I got this as background. Fair enough, fair enough. There we go, and we're almost at enough graphite to make this sucker work. Alright, come on. There we go. Got me some graphites. Give me some steel. Now make a crap load of steel. Oh man, this is not enough graphite. Whatever, we're just gonna roll with this. See what happens. Give me more steel bars, give me 2. How about 2 of them, please? Whatever. Stingy dickhole, he's probably just taking all this stuff and selling it and just rolling a wheel as to whether or not we get it. What's funny is that, yeah, you can absolutely fail your bars. The worst part is once you get up to Woots, so once you get up to Damascus steel here, like right now, 64 to 70%. That's better than it would be in vanilla. But yeah, like steel right now, 74 to 80. It's not ideal, not ideal. In Nintendoland, exactly. So this is basically the Japanese version of Tactics Ogre, which, if you've never played the original or rather the PSP remake, there was always a little bit of an odd duck situation with that, where the version that we ended up getting didn't match with the whole rest of the series. Hang on, I just need to grab a drink of water here because I've been chatting incessantly. Anyway, so it just didn't seem to match with the rest of the series norms. There was just a lot of stuff that didn't make sense about it. Wow, those sucky craft rates. These are going to explode like crazy. Wait. I don't have enough iron now. Fantastic. But anyway, so there was a bunch of stuff about it that just didn't quite add up. These ones should be iron. Let me double check that that's iron. Yeah, it's the one that I have one of, so it's going to be this one. Anyway, so it didn't match up. Like, typically people ended up quitting by the time they got to the relative end game of this game. Wait, Nintendoland is a Wii U game? I did not know that. I would just meant it more in terms of, I always make the joke if I don't speak Nintendo, every time somebody asks me to go do a thing for Chronicle Valeria, for the other version of this game. But anyway, so what was I getting at here? Right, so the original just, it seemed out of place. Like, you had the very, very original back on the SNES and PS1, it was like, okay, the balance isn't great, but I can see what they were going for. You had March of the Black Queen, which is like, again, the thing was just a chaotic mess, but dang, it was fun to play. The general norm throughout the series was just, even if you just completely bumble your way through, you're still gonna find something that works. You're still gonna find something in your team that actually functions. The main difference with the PSP version when it came out in the States is just the fact that it felt like an MMO, where it's like, if you didn't know the meta, screw you by the end game. And that was the thing. If you knew the meta, it was stupidly easy. Like, beyond stupidly easy. Like, it got to the point where there was just no challenge on anything whatsoever. So, I will say on this one, I literally have been playing it on autopilot, as in I haven't actually given any unit an order in a very long time. But yeah, you may be wondering, how am I comparing the two then? Well, here's the thing. In the original, they would have been just completely one-shotting everything. There would have been no threat to anyone whatsoever. And on top of that, yeah, they would do no damage. Like, there's just no worry whatsoever of anybody getting hurt. So far, the main difference between the two is 1 decimal point, as weird as that sounds. What's new since last time? Well, I went ahead and got to the level 30 wall, which, interestingly enough, yeah, they can actually get past. The level 30 wall is a downer, but it's not the end of the game. So if you've never gotten to this kind of weird situation in the original, if you ever had a class reach 30 and you weren't ready for endgame, you were screwed. There was very little you could do aside from going and attempting to recruit units. Basically, it got to the point... Yeah, there we go. These are the ones that pin stuff to the ground. It got to the point where, yeah, you just... there was very little you could do. You probably did 1 damage to most things. And yeah, it's mostly because it looks like this game was in fact balanced for the purpose of everyone having higher stats throughout most of it. In fact, interesting note that Aircel came in with this permafrost bow over here. Any one of these basic archers with a basic upgraded longbow did do more damage and had higher stats than Aircel. So that's a pretty good indicator of like her with all her upgraded equipment, everybody else with Chapter 2 equipment. I think it's a pretty good indicator that stuff was quite different. So yeah, let's go ahead and go up here. I mean, granted, everything is still being played on autopilot, because archers remain OP as crap, but they're not as OP as they once were. That is to say, even when it got to the point of having... What's it? I want to say like a... What was it? Like 14 level advantage, they were still getting to the point where they were actually threatened. It's like right here, level 30 wall, now is when some actual challenge starts coming into the game. I'm pretty sure the AI won't be able to handle this by themselves, but we'll find out. In fact, I probably should have hard saved before doing this. But okay, yeah, Denim is the only one with a proper, like, this part in the game weapon. But as you can see, they're actually still... There's still a semblance of some balance going on. You can tell that the world has shifted towards New Game Plus, but this at least still makes sense. Like, nobody's doing 1 damage right now. Except for Yunin, he's doing 2 over there. He just joined, he just got his bow skill, so that's understandable enough. But anyway, yeah. Anybody still using Chapter 2 equipment is generally not having such a hot time right now. There's still a chance they could win this, though. Like, there's still a realistic chance they can win it without my input. I'm just going to leave it like this and see what happens. So, yeah, I don't know. I thought it was absolutely fascinating that it actually held up. So, quick show of hands here. Who here has actually, like done this whole level 30 wall thing before, and has anyone experienced the situation that I'm talking about, because I'm assuming there probably wasn't too much of a challenge running community for this game. But anyway, just figured I'd go ahead and bring it up. See what happens. Yeah, those longbows are not holding up at all. There we go. Lizard go dead. Yeah, interestingly enough, the performance thing. So apparently the AI got changed for performance and all that. But yeah, I can't help but notice there's a little bit of occasional stutter, but it's really nothing that they really need to throw the AI under the bus for. So it was mentioned earlier, but yeah, in all the castle fights so far, it does seem like the AI did realize, hey, you know, it's not safe to go ahead and charge ahead. I'm going to go ahead and stay here. And yeah, they went ahead and did that. Original PSP version, that pretty much never happened. They usually just went ahead and bum rushed you, even if they were in defensive positions. So I know that the AI was altered for the US release, allegedly for performance reasons. Also, another thing about the AI that I don't really understand, they tend to punch. I don't know why they like to punch, they just really like to punch for some reason. So there's that. So, you know, however that works exactly, they're really punchy. Okay, I want to say it's just they think they might be able to do some damage. Like, I'm pretty sure melee classes, if they had a punch, they'd be able to do something. I would assume they'd have an actual weapon on them. But it seems like... Oh crap. The way I see it, the overall logic there might just be that throwing a close attack is more practical RT-wise than it would be otherwise. Also, for some reason, RT is called WT in this one, and I'm assuming weight is called something else. So there's that. Yeah, so far they're still holding up. They've got a chance. Definitely not impossible. Especially with how they're keeping their range here. Especially with Canopus taking the high grounds. They're still not being very effective about how they do their movement, but still, you know, still it's something. Yeah, if the AI wins it, then I'll just probably have to properly say that the Japanese version was better balanced. Again, nowhere near as good as One Vision, but that's a hard one to reach. So yeah, if anybody looking at this hasn't tried One Vision before, as far as I'm concerned, it is the optimal way to experience this game. Basically, between the different versions, it's you have the original version back in the SNES. It's probably the best in terms of... I don't know, I really like the permadeath mechanic in that one, and I really like the training mechanic. But the balance is questionable at best. If you want to experience... Oh, dang, insta-killed. If you want to experience a cooler version of that one, there's Chronicle of Valeria, which again is also entirely in Japanese, but it's probably the best in terms of overall number of mechanics going on. Like they've got full systems for each individual unit's reputation and things like that. It's really, 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 really freaking cool. But still, it's one of these cases where if you don't have a translator, stuff might get a little bit weird. But that aside, there was the PSP remake, which just feels... well, the US version feels a lot like an MMO. It just feels like they ended up shoving a bunch of things in there that didn't need to happen. And then most recently discovered the Japanese version here, which, granted, I didn't discover it. It was somebody complaining about whether there could be a One Vision for this version. Oh, nice. Don't have to exercise that ghost if he's dead. They actually might win this, is the thing. Like, alright, come on, Flesh Spring. Survive it. Okay, but anyway, so there's, yeah, this version. So the AI is a little bit better, and the stats go up 10 times as fast. And yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. It definitely feels like this is what the game was balanced for. Like it's not exactly that everything was well thought out, but it definitely feels like this is what they wanted. This is, you know, the actual intended result when they were talking about all those different things that they liked about the game in the interviews that never showed up in the US version. It feels like this is the game they were talking about, so that's what makes me so happy about it. See, still Chapter 2 in One Vision, finishers more sane, Cleric gets one-shotted by finishers in vanilla. Yeah, and so that was part of that insanity. Funnily enough, in this version, it's also kind of similar, where I've seen finishers do a lot, but it's kind of like One Vision, where they're definitely scaled down. Because yeah, it seems like what I was saying by this version being the one that they balanced it for is it's just basically what they have going on here. Everything's got higher stats. So in One Vision, everything's got way lower stats, but everything is better controlled. Like everything's properly balanced. Everything is tested against everything else. Like he actually went through everything with a fine-tooth comb, and everything works. So with this version, it was a bit more haphazard, but generally speaking, they added they had gone and they gave everything much higher stats. They're 10 times faster than they were in vanilla, or in the US version. What this results in is higher crafting rates, which again, the crafting system still sucks, but it's nice to see that, that your rates are actually improving over the course of the game. On top of that, you're seeing higher overall base stats on characters, which also means that if you're swapping characters between different classes, you're able to get much stronger ones much earlier. Meanwhile, the AI is always scaling up in the background, and as Reeks put it, it was basically the US version wound up with units in about 30s to 40s for base stats, while by the end game, while your characters could go up to 100, whereas in this one they would scale all the way up to 80, and your guys could go up to 100, so you ended up seeing more challenge throughout it. I will say I haven't seen as much of the stupid situation where everybody gets like one-shotted or everything else, where just units start being completely inviable or things like that. I've actually seen TKs holding up somewhat decently in this version too. But yeah, this is just more of an interesting. I wondered what happened, and I'm very happy to see that it's that there was some logic behind it after all. Probably aside from a couple versions here, aside from a couple runs, just out of curiosity, I'm not exactly going to go do regular runs of this version, but between the two versions of the original game, this is the better one in my opinion. Again, just my personal opinion. I don't know if there's more to the whole thing, but 10 times higher stats definitely is better than you'd think it would be. Like I said, I've actually seen cudgels doing proper damage, which just never happened before. Let's see. Yeah, finisher-wise, they're still kind of nuts, though. It's not well-balanced, but it's better balanced. And then One Vision comes in and it's like, I just made everything perfect. That's great. Like, granted, it's not... Perfect is subjective, but as far as different strategy games go, I've never seen anything as well-balanced as that mod right now. Like, I literally don't think I can think of a single... When I think of something balanced right, it's that. It's like that, followed by the Jay Sawyer mod for New Vegas. Would probably be the second in line there. And even that one, that was more balanced for fun than overall balance, but it was fun. It was definitely fun. See that, and then, let's see, probably behind that... Oh. Braxton, get over here. What are you doing? There's nothing in that bowl for you. But yeah, probably behind that, Knight of Lotus. So if I were to give a top 3 in terms of balance and all that. Alright, come on, you got this, Archies. You got this! I'm just curious to see how far this can take them. I'm probably going to redo this fight, but whatever. If it comes down to just Denim sitting on top of a cliff, firing down arrows forever. Where is Denim, for that matter? They haven't been around in a while. Another lizard gun, now it's just the dragons. Denim get knocked out or something? Oh no, he's up there. So yeah, even with his armor, even with everything, he's actually holding up alright. So despite the fact that we're in New Game Plus and everything else, he's actually holding up alright. The FFT most balanced... most balanced ever? Yeah, sure, totally balanced, yep. That's definitely legit on that one. Just, calculator's most balanced class ever. God, I love how... to be fair, FFT was kind of designed, seemingly, as a let's just make everything as jacked as possible. Just make everybody able to do really, really stupid stuff. Actually, if you want to see a weird bit of balance, what's funny is... Okay, so the US version of this game, right? They had this interesting thing where... Hang on. Snipe some dragons. Snipe some dragons! And I'm going to have him go hide over here for a little bit. Oh, I should probably double shot with him. Yeah, definitely double shot it up. Alright, anyway. So, it had a balance that many people compared to Vagrant Story, which is kind of interesting, because, yeah, Vagrant Story is another one where if you knew the meta, you could become pretty overpowered really fast, but then if you didn't, you had a much harder time. Well, let's see. 2 Cleric plus Cashua for healing works well for me in Chapter 2 when Vision. There's always room for more healing. True, although funnily enough, if you replace those healers with some attackers with items, it ends up holding up just as well. Like, there was a concern for a good while that healers were just OP and you absolutely needed them. But in practice, just replacing them with attackers using items, even with the planned nerf on Mending Seeds, they're still something that ends up... like, it still ends up working out quite well. So just a bit of a side note there. But yeah, guy with a cudgel right there. Just want to point out, guy with a cudgel attacking somebody in armor, doing 62 damage. So, cudgels, they actually do stuff in this version. They actually are a weapon. Right there, 90 with a cudgel. Like that. You can tell. You can tell. This is the version that we were supposed to get and didn't. Now, why is anyone's guess? Now, if I fire that beyond range, he's gonna lose out on that second shot. Let's do it this way. Perfect. But yeah, so I don't know. It just makes me happy. That's all. It makes me really glad to know that this exists. I wish it was in English. I wish this was the version they released in the States. But hey, you know, whatever. And unfortunately, lost Canopus. We might have to redo this fight. Whatever, if that's the case. Just redo it without AI, because they can definitely win this. Especially if they keep taking these 40% like that. No, Mr. Flesh Spring! Let's see, in this version of Wet Rag can do damage? True. Very true. So again, you know, personally I'd like too much damage flying around than too little sometimes. Like, obviously it'll depend on the situation. But, I don't know, it just makes me happy. It's like, there was always that missing piece because it never made sense to me. Like, what exactly happened to create the US version, you know? Like, there was that missing link of, like, you know, weird game, weird game, weird game, weird game, MMO. What is this doing here? Like, you gotta go grind. You gotta go grind your stats, noob. I don't want to go grind my stats. I just want to be able to play through this like a complete moron and see what happens. See, how much damage does an Utter Smack do? Let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and assume that we can compare that to a Balder Hammer. Aw, Potato Go dead. That's fine. Yes. It's, you know, I think it's probably comparable to a Wet Rag as far as the damage goes, so we'll go ahead and assume that it does about as much damage as everything else. So, yeah. Cool beans, I think. Alright, so. There you go, you continue onwards. What I'm going to do here, I'm basically just going to use Denim and Canopus to snipe down the hard targets. Then I'm going to go ahead and let everybody else just kind of do their thing. Should hopefully do whatever we need it to do. Because everybody else is just going to fire around willy-nilly. Willy the Nilly! Sounds like the guy that nobody wanted to hang out with. Kind of like an obnoxious radio DJ, but in the 15th century or something. Let's see. 1 damage plus 10 calcium? Oh man. That's true, that's some good stuff. So you end up kind of buffing your enemy as you hit them. It's a good point. It's a good thing to worry about. Sometimes you gotta be careful about accidentally buffing the other guy. That's why ladies don't hit anybody with the boobs. Like, dude, sure you got a charm off, but you ended up buffing them and they're gonna be happy for the whole rest of the week. It's funny to look at everything in terms of RPG mechanics. It's pretty darn great. Man, all this snow can just piss right off. Things all frozen and snowy and everything else. Ended up walking around a good bit of yesterday, just throwing around salt everywhere. Gotta get all salty. Let's go ahead and drop a... No, he doesn't even have tremendous shot somehow. How did that happen? I could have sworn I had that on him a while ago. Whatever. Go attack the Dargon. I will say I'm pretending not to notice the fact that dragons can't throw rocks in this one. I know it was a minor update. I know it's like some random, okay, who cares kind of thing. But the fact that dragons are actually able to throw rocks, like, it just makes me way too happy. But in one vision, by the way. So, if you're wondering about it, in this version, they basically can only throw rocks as a counter. OV came in with a thing where they can actually just come equipped with a rock weapon that allows them to throw rocks right off the bat. There was kind of a regular joke where, especially in the US version, I don't know how much it carries over in this one because I can't help but notice they don't scale as well. But yeah, them throwing rocks was stupidly good. Like, ridiculously good. Let's see. Let's see, does the damage and makes their bones stronger over time. Well then, you know, if you end up sitting there long enough, you just become like that one skeleton. Like, if you've ever seen that meme, it's probably one of my favorite freaking memes ever. Where it's just like, oh yeah, you know, let's go ahead and do this, and he's going and looking at a place full of traps, just sitting there chugging milk and milk after milk after milk after milk. Okay, let's do this, and he's just walking through and taking 0 damage from everything. That was pretty great. Alright, I'm only sniping that guy just to whittle him down a little bit. I want to get the lizards and stuff going. Let's see, Archer is easiest to die compared to Cleric, in one vision, health kit seems quite high between Glass, Spellblade, and Valkyrie default range throw item, yeah. So for the Archers, yeah, you really gotta keep them in range. But yeah, if you give them siege bows and things like that, personally those are my absolute favorite. You can keep them at an absolutely safe distance pretty much the entire time and have them harass like crazy. It's fantastic. Stuff's all well and nifty-like. I mean, the funny part is, with siege bows, they're still not going to be doing the most amazing damage in the world, but still, like, they can do enough. They can, at that point, they're able to reasonably threaten medium armor. Most of the other bows, they can only affect things. Let's say, you know, light armor for the most part, no armor, that kind of thing. Heavies are just a pipe dream, but with enough plank, you'll eventually get there. But yeah, that's why you don't keep your archers anywhere near the front line. There's certain ways you can pull it off. Like, one time I found it kind of interesting to run shields and daggers on archers, though it's really impractical to do. And actually, I'm kind of tempted to do like a shield and dagger run of one vision, just to see what happens. Probably nothing that's worth doing will end up happening. Who knows? Who knows? What was I checking out here? Right. What weapon? Is that a headsman or a balder is the question. Because I'm assuming it's probably a headsman. Alright. Now, he needs a little bit of healing, but he also needs to do a little bit of damage here, so... Go ahead and pew-pew this guy a little bit. I can move over here. Can't help but notice we're somehow doing worse than last time. However that works. Let's see, wizards and archers, the speedrun strats. I'll just bring more clerics to heal archer for shield and dagger. Yeah, I guess so. Except, that's the thing, in that run it would technically just be archers with shields and daggers. Though that'll happen after the Scrooge run. I'm having way too much fun with that. I freaking love the Scrooge run, man. So happy with that rule set. Let's go PP this guy a bit. Guy's kind of looking like he's a RuneScape character at this point with his friggin' MSB. See, Shield and Dagger OV was not only viable but pretty broken in some earlier versions. I guess. I mean, it's generally pretty darn weak, especially on archers, but... I mean, right now they do pretty much nothing. They just glance off of armor. But they do have that bind effect, which is really nice. In fact, double daggers and sleep bombs are something that I really like to run on ninjas. Ah, dang it! Friggin' surprise gremlin just shot Canopus in the butt. Come on, archers, you got this! You got this! Wait a second, they're actually using double impact, or double strike, or whatever the hell it's called in this version. I don't remember them ever using that in vanilla. Huh. Actually, come to think of it, yeah, as far as daggers go, let's see, back in, I want to say it was like version 87 or something. There was a really, there was one version where I remember them doing a crapload of damage for some reason. So I know they got toned down after that. So, oh well. Right, stop critting me through 25%, please. Thank you. Thank you for your attention. Let's go you, I think. Or you? Not you. Oh crap, really? He's got rocked, literally. Right. Insta-killed a gremlin off a cliff, as it should be. What else are you gonna do with gremlins? Yeah, it's funny because I think I may have potentially screwed the run here by doing it this way. Oh, come on! Just like, that's two guys insta-killed with rocks. Actually, I think that might have even been the same guy that died last time to the rock. Oh well. Let's see, and same version that had buttloads of HP. Oh yeah, no, high HP shields definitely were pretty busted for a little bit there. But yeah, they're all balanced out now, and they just do the defense like they should. Yeah, I may have screwed myself. Actually, I think it might even be faster just to load the hard save and... Yeah, it's funny because the 30 wall happens right before probably the worst part of the game to ever get one. Well, let's restart this here real quick because Denim's about to die. This is still potentially possible. What I need to do is not launch Canopus way up at the top there, that's what it was. The AI actually had a pretty good idea as far as that goes. Alright, moving on. But yeah, no, most busted thing was still the US version's archers. Because by that point, like, by this point, if you've got those archers, even, like, level 30 wall or no, you're still in a position where you can do ridiculous amounts of damage. Because, yeah, the AI does not get anything to help them out at this point aside from the new equipment, and, yeah, if you've got even basic upgrades, they scale up retardedly fast. Although, that's the funny thing, if you come in... Oh, here's the funny difference between the two, right? So in this version, the archers end up coming in, like, okay, they're very under-equipped, but they're still able to do some damage. When they come into the 30 wall, or New Game Plus mode, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, under-equipped can still do a ton of damage. However, or not a ton, but at least some damage. So, they can still do something. But then, you end up going to the US version, and they end up where they just do 1 damage across the board, but then you upgrade them to Siege, I think it was Siege +1 or something. Just like whatever the last craftable bow is. They start doing some damage, but then you get them in a late game bow, and suddenly they're doing retarded amounts of damage. Like, they're suddenly doing friggin' 200s per shot. So it went from like 1 to 30 to 200. Like, what just happened there? It's weird. It's weird, man. I don't know how that kept happening, but yeah, it's definitely less forgiving when it comes to spears too. Like with spears, honestly, it takes a lot to make them work. I've noticed in this version, spears do hold up better. They feel a little bit more like the SNES version. But yeah, no, the US version, oh man, they do not hold up in the endgame at all unless you went and ground some of your stats. And even then, like, I had a version where... Actually, yeah, let's go ahead and chariot that crap, because I don't want that rock crit to stick. There we go. Let's go ahead and throw this out again. Just go ahead and trigger this, and that should hopefully not cause him to get a crit now. We've altered the timeline. There we go. So. But yeah, so, So yeah, like endgame spears, like I had a version where I had Murden, he had like, I want to say rank 6 or so. And so they were all at the last boss, right? So you got Murden there with his spear. He does 1 damage. He's got, I want to say he had the Hatch. He had one of the upgraded elemental spears. So yeah, he had all of his augments, he had all of that going. I think he had rank 2 on his augments. But it doesn't even matter. The thing just does not do any damage. So he does 1. You got Gildas there coming in with his 2-hander. He does like 10. He's not really doing anything terribly impressive there. He does about 10. You got Denim coming in with a with different casting abilities. They're bouncing off at 1. You got Ozma, who has never been trained at all. Like, she literally was just picked up, thrown straight into the front of the party. And from, I want to say... What the hell am I doing? Not what I meant to do at all. Maybe that's why the AI ends up doing that. They just accidentally misclick and don't exactly know what to do at that point. Anyway, so Ozma comes in. The only training she's really gotten is to be fed a ninja, right? So ninja dies. She ends up absorbing her friggin' double attack ability. Guess what? Guess how much she does per hit compared to everybody else. Again, bear in mind, no grinding, no anything. Because I have the screenshot somewhere. She does like 320 compared to everybody else with ice swords. So it's either the end boss is freakishly weak to ice for some reason, or yeah, something went super janky as far as the balance there. It was impressive with that. So yeah, she could do 640 to the boss, which I think was almost a one-shot, with no additional training or help or anything else. Like, just what the actual crap. I want to say she had like rank 4 in swords or something like that at that point. Let's see, Spellblade Valkyrie can substitute healing with default range throw item for early game. I thought Lobber is needed. Sadly, they cannot equip Dagger. Yeah, I don't know. I don't use daggers that often except for gimmick classes in OV. Dickory! Nuh-uh, we're not taking that. If I didn't kind of screw up with the saves here, this would be a different story. Okay. Go ahead and interrupt. Nope, actually we're not taking that either, screw it. We're gonna have to go back farther. We have to alter the timeline. Let's go ahead and pew-pew on you. And have you move back here. That sounds good. Hopefully that'll save everyone. Okay, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. Yeah, personally, I think if any class needs a nerf at the moment, it's probably Spellblades, just because they have so many nice things going for them. Though, I guess it's kind of fine. Like, if I were to think of one thing... Hang on, why on earth does he keep hitting that? Sorry, I'm trying to turn on Chariot here. Which I can't help but notice, Chariot actually is an abbreviation for something in this version. What it's an abbreviation for, I don't know. But it's for something, that's for sure. Anyway. What the hell was I getting at here? Right, so Spellblades, I kind of feel like they need to not have access to heavy chest armor. It just, I don't know, I keep running them with medium. They seem reasonably bulky at medium, like even if you upgrade their vests all the way to... What the hell, this lucky dickhole? Am I misreading something on those numbers, or is he hitting 30% every single time? Alright, let's try that again. Cheat to victory. Or eventual victory, whatever. But yeah. Is this a story battle? Sure is! I kind of made the mistake of going into this whole thing without saving after several hours, so that's the only reason I'm kind of cheesing my way through it here. It's definitely possible. Actually, the AI itself almost managed to win it earlier, so there we go. Got good rolls on that. There we are. So yeah, as soon as this is done, we're not going to really bother doing with this kind of cheesy crap again. Miss. Whatever, I'll take 1. I'll take 1, dang it. No, whatever, she dies anyway. Yeah, it definitely seems like throwing weapons do a lot more damage in this one, too. Almost to the point that they might be worth it. Probably still a no, because they're expensive as hell, but still. Guess it's better than the previous version of we didn't even try to balance these. It's like, oh yeah, they do as much damage as a bow, but you gotta go through a lot of effort, extra effort, they have no finishers, and yeah, have fun with that. Yeah, you should never fight a story battle at this level if you were speeding and fluffing other classes to keep your archers below the catch-up point. Yeah. Oh well. It totally shouldn't, but whatever. But yeah, no. So the only reason I'm doing it this way is because I wanted specifically to see how they would hold up. So I wanted to see how they handled the 30 wall, as I like to call it. And the answer is surprisingly well. This is actually still completely winnable. If they had this equipment in the US version, they would be toast. There's no question. You guys are just going to keep going for the ghosts, whatever, that's fine. I have 2 guys that can do reasonable damage against dragons, so they will continue doing so. So yeah. But yeah, so overall assessment of this whole thing just definitely feels like more damage is better than less. Obviously, balanced is better, but hey, you know, if you're going to take one over the other, I would say this one's balance feels more pleasant than the US version did. Alright, she just got rocked. Also, because I can't help but notice that casters are actually, you know, hurting things. Even with the archers being over-leveled, even with them coming in with different stuff here, it still can be a situation where they can hurt stuff. Also, hang on, it is possibly going to be loud here in just a moment. One of the kiddos just realized that she fell asleep and might be kind of upset about that. Like, why did nobody tell me I was asleep? This is unacceptable. I demand to speak with my baby lawyer. Let's go you, I think. And the US version, the only way I got past this point was spamming the first battle and Toronto slowly. Yeah, that was the thing. Like, it's one of many reasons why the US version just, it felt like it was, I don't know, it felt like something that's not there, you know? Like, it just felt out of place. So for years, and I do mean that literally, for years, I kept thinking that there had to be something that was missed, because I kept reading interviews, and I kept reading everything else, and it's like, what game are you guys talking about? Because it's not the one that I played. Like, where's all this impressively balanced stuff that managed to keep all of the, you know, same stuff from the original, and like, I'm seeing an MMO balance slapped onto an SRPG from the 90s or whatever, and yeah, seeing lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of grinding. So what's the deal with that? And so yeah, then it turns out that yeah, this still had all the MMO items, but they were just kind of an extra thing, and you couldn't still do all that grinding. But it created kind of an interesting situation when it comes to your NPCs, because your uniques, because of the way that everything ends up working, your uniques end up coming in a weaker, statistically far weaker than your current vets, but they come out with far higher skills. So there's definitely a reason to actually keep them around and train them up, but they're not coming in overpowered, at least not from their actual stats. So it may not be good in terms of how long the game goes on, because let's be blunt here, this game goes on for a freakishly long time, so yeah, I mean, everyone's going to wind up with max stats by the end of the game, more than likely. Actually, didn't take a peek at Denim in a little while here. Let's see how he's doing. Because they're getting 1 to 2 stats. Like, they're getting, it seems like they're getting 1s on everything they don't use, and then 2 on the stats that they do. So yeah, by the time they hit 50, they should easily be at 100. But either way, I still prefer units doing some damage as opposed to just everybody doing 1s across the board because they didn't know how to metagame right. As many might have noticed up to this point, I absolutely hate metagames. It's just, I like the idea as a joke, but as far as metagaming stuff, it really bugs me. That's why most MMOs are just not for me. Alright, let's take a look at your stats real quick. Yeah, I don't think I can look at his base stats right now. Alright, whatever. Let's go skills and all this. Let's see, is there missable in One Vision 2? No, missables are pretty much done in One Vision at this point. I think he's gotten all of them patched out. Finish off this Dargon. Goodbye, Dargon. Actually, speaking of dragons, so recently got to try Spyro for the first time. I know, it's kind of a weird tangent here, but so we ended up getting a PS4 because my wife really, really wanted the Spyro Reignited trilogy. And it's like, okay, you know, I never played Spyro up to this point, and I just thought, okay, whatever, you know, it looks alright. And I tried it, and oh my god, that game is such a joy to play. And I usually don't even like platformers that much. Like, honestly, the last time that I enjoyed playing a platformer like that was probably Jak and Daxter. And that was friggin' ages ago now. But oh my god, it's so dang fun to play. I never expected it to be that good. The best I can describe it is if you ever wanted to play a game as a flying puppy, just like complete with all the little pitter-patter sounds of little tiny feet hitting the ground all the time, and the music adjusting for every time that you're charging somewhere and things like that. There's so many little tiny details in that thing. I love it. Ah, no, Flesh Spring, you've got thrown into the lava pit. That's probably where you belong, but whatever. That's just crap. No, stop crit murdering everybody. Okay, so funny story, by the way. So the last time that I ended up, the last file that I was going through and testing stuff on for the US version, I ended up going through and, you know, getting to about this point, and ran into an interesting problem, wherein a lot of characters started being weirdly affected by the types of things they were getting. Like, I had a Beastmaster that sucked. Like, this guy sucked the entirety of every type of Donkey Balls up to that point. I was trying to make a whip build work, basically. And the poor guy just kept getting knocked out in every single fight he took part in. I mean, granted, he came in at around the, you know, the 20 range, so he wasn't exactly going to be blowing any minds anytime soon. But anyway, so I pick up a Holy Comet for him. He goes from doing like 10 damage to everything to like 300. It's like, what happened there? Apparently, the numbers lined up just right to the point where he ended up getting everything that he needed to do some very certain stuff. But either way, it was just really funny. It was like how, just out of nowhere, this absolutely nowhere character became ridiculously overpowered. Just from one little stat rollover. It was fun. I mean, granted, then trying to get anybody else to function properly was a whole mess, because nobody had the stats to function, even by that point in the game, and so you had to go grind more, and grumble. Let's see. Probably need the one thingy with the $5,000 item you find, and you only find it once in every 3 months. Maybe. Oh, is Double Spear available in Vanilla? Hell yeah, it is! You can use Double Spear on Knight Commander and Lord. So yeah, and as weird as that sounds, it's actually surprisingly decent. In fact, I was doing a little bit of a thing earlier. You know, I might even end it on this. I might even end this part doing that, because I'm pretty sure the save file is kind of screwed right now, and I don't feel like rehashing all the same stuff. And again, if I just took AI off them. I took AI off them and specifically focus-fired certain things. Okay, we'll give this one more go. I'm going to take the AI off everyone, and we'll just go about it that way. Pew. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, there was a guy that actually had issued a little bit of a challenge a while ago to do that whole 1 vs 18 challenge using a Lord, and that was one of the builds that I considered using for it. But I wound up doing what I ended up calling the Viper build, though, which was you basically take a let's see, add Arts of War. You go ahead and add that in with either a shield and spear or a heavy spear build. Go either heavy armor or evasive set, and then what's it? And then from there you combine that with more stuff from the Swordmaster stuff, or from Arts of War. So for example, you combine it with dances. You combine it ideally with charm moves, though that particular character wasn't a high enough level to do that. And I didn't. That was actually the highest level Denim that I've run from start to finish. So either way. So he can't use a lot of the better abilities, which was kind of the idea, I suppose. I was kind of hoping to do a thing where it's like, okay, you know, I'm coming in from a natural save file around mid-game, and let's see if we can go pull off the challenge kind of situation. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, so yeah, double spear was definitely considered there. But yeah, I think heavy spear plus Envenom seems to be the strongest thing that I was able to put together for him. Oh wait, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. Yeah, double spear is not available in vanilla. You were talking about vanilla, not One Vision. Sorry, I read One Vision for some reason. I mean, pardon my idiocy, okay? I don't know. I don't read things sometimes. Gets me in trouble all the time. I swear, a couple times a week, my wife will send me a text message, and I will end up completely going dyslexic on the thing, read it completely wrong, and then wound up doing the exact opposite of what I was supposed to. Like the other day, I was like, oh yeah, make sure that you only get me some chicken wings. I don't want all of them. Except I completely misread it as just make sure to get me no chicken wings and do this other thing instead. And apparently she was saying don't do this other thing as a joke. So I was like, okay, it does make sense, but I'm going to go ahead and make no chicken wings and make this weird sandwich situation instead. And then she was really pissed. But either way, you know, stuff happens. So yeah, no double spear in vanilla. You only have the single spear. The US versions are quite friggin' disappointing, as in the thing's basically like a tinfoil bulb on the end of a stick for the most part. They've got some fantastic finishers, you know, if you get something that completely ignores armor, but other than that... Okay, that is some subpar damage you got there, sir. Let's wear down all these skeletons. So I'm gonna get all of them down to maybe within a couple shots. Then focus fire all the heavies on the heavies. Kind of like that makes sense. Go ahead and do that. Pew. Alright, so he's good. We'll get the ghosts in a little bit. Now let's pew pew on you. Perfect. Actually, this bow is the one with knockback. It's not the one with bind. Now that I think about it. Not ideal. Actually, in fact, let's go cheat that. Oops, look at that. Totally didn't happen. What a shame. It's almost like they added a cheat button or something. Still one of those stranger decisions. Actually, I think Chariot is probably the second dumbest feature I've seen in a strategy game, aside from what they tried to do with Jag the Line's Back in Action. If you've never seen that, played it, heard about it, whatever, they remade Jag the Lions 2, and they're like, hey, you know what would be a great idea for this game that featured a whole lot of surprises and stealth and everything else? Let's make everything on the map visible! Also known as, we were too lazy to actually put in Fog of War until like 4 patches in, so let's call it a feature. It was really dumb. Because yeah, the whole thing was like, you don't know what's anywhere, so you might get ambushed, and that's a big part of the play of that game. It's like jungle warfare and all that kind of thing. So if you just magically know where everything is, man, there's no challenge to that game whatsoever. Actually, the main challenge, hell, even with that turned on, is with the fact that the overall UI and design and everything else is just such hot garbage, and it's not even funny. Which one of these is what? I can't look at those cards. I don't know what they do. Do we got these ones? Let's see. You. Let's speed up. That's some buff or something. That's some other thing. That's some other thing. Are any of you a heal? Yeah, there we go. You're a heal. Heal! That's exactly what I meant to do. Perfect. Let's see. Neck ranks, great work in OV, and thanks for it. Super enjoyable. Yeah, it's amazing. It's seriously the best. Like, I don't mean it in terms of a, oh crap, he's shilling for it again. I mean in terms of a legit, the reason that I end up pushing so much for that mod is because it's seriously the best balanced thing I've ever seen. Anyway. So there's that. Like, in terms of overall fairness, I should probably say. Let's see. Does double attack work with bow or crossbow? Yeah, the double, wait a minute. Actually, yeah. You can do double shot. I mean, you can do double shot. There's that. Can't forget about double shot. But yeah, no. Books are pretty fantastic. If you dual wielding books is great. It's funny because that apparently used to be a strategy in the original too. But apparently it could actually become really overpowered as well. Because if you ended up stacking up range bonuses high enough, I think it was something like you could get, what was it, like 20% extra damage off a book, plus it ended up rolling over in some weird ways. Am I not mistaken? I don't know, could be wrong on that. I just know that it ended up scaling up ridiculously high. It doesn't quite do that in OV, you know, somebody bothered to balance it, but the, you know, the overall effect is still that they're really darn great. Okay, now, does this push you back? Okay, good. So I need 2 Tremenduses to go ahead and exercise that ghost. But yeah, double books essentially gives you like a sort of SMG type effect. Like if you do double books or the cursed book, and then end in still, you just sit there and just like rat-a-tat stuff over and over. It's fun! It's all nifty like, it looks really cool. It's actually what I used for making Laguna for the FF8 team. Like, well, there's no SMGs in here, but a book with an instill is about the closest thing we're gonna get. Actually, come to think of it, double attack. Oh man, I never tried double attack plus instill. Yeah, that would be interesting. Double attack, cursed book plus instill. No, they can't use books. What am I saying? Actually, wait a minute. Lord can use books. Can he double attack? I don't know if he can double attack. I don't know. No, he can. What's it? Or rather, he can't attack twice, he can use one in each hand. He can dual wield. Let's do it. Yeah, I think double strike is what I'm thinking of. Something like that. Yep. I think we're doing okay here. This is doable. This is somewhat manageable. I'm not sure what we're going to do about that Skeletor up there. But this is somewhat manageable. Let's see, no damage, no damage, no damage. Sir, your bow is trash. Oh well. Okay, why do you not have tremendous is the question. Yeah, your upgraded bow and everything. Aw, why'd you have to knock him out? I'll come back at full health. What have you done? Seriously, why did none of them... I could have sworn I got them on tremendous shot very early on. Alright, you just sit for a moment. You're getting more lizards coming in. Yeah, I think we're actually gonna have to switch over to that other thing here, because, actually go back up to this point will take a very long time. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna switch over to that, one vision thing. How does that sound? The challenge that the guy issued. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. Because at this point, yeah, well, there's 2 guys that can do damage to these dragons, and it's theoretically possible. It's just gonna take a really long time. Alright. So let's go ahead and exit out of that. Let's go ahead and where are my buttons here? Go, let's put 1.54. Launch that sucker up here. And so you could cheat in 2 cursor books. True, true. Wait, that's not... Ah, crap. No, no, emulation. Pause. Make one vision happen, please. Thank you. Thank you! Alright, now where is it? Say... That's not it. This one? Yes. Okay, so, this is the one for my legit file. Or mostly legit. These 2 I I cheated in their class marks because I wanted to test how the classes were working a little while ago. Anyway, so, yeah, this is actually, come to think of it, I think it's a way earlier level version, but whatever. So 20s are typically what ends up giving people issues. So, given that his evasion's already pretty reasonably high right now, mostly I'm going in with a heavy spear, with this kind of setup. So we got spears over here, we got parry over here, being all amazing. Arts of War, because, quite frankly, Art of War is just amazing on the Lord. Counter attack, because of course, HP Infusion to be able to heal on both sides of the turn. Field Out 2, because of course. Stop Ward, because of fairies. Berserk and Speed Star, because they're amazing. And yeah, you can Berserk with a spear, which is pretty friggin' baller, I have to say. So let's do this thing. So if you've never seen the Knight Commander version, by the way, long and short of it is, it's just you go to Reason Way and you try to one-shot, or you try to solo the entire map. That's the whole shtick with this challenge. So this is what I like to do for pressure testing different classes and things like that. It's like, I just want to see what kind of weird crap I can pull out of it. It's like, okay, well, they died to this thing. Well, let's go ahead and give them this, you know, that kind of situation. So, typically, I've gotten about halfway through this fight with the Lord so far. With the Knight Commander, it took a few tries, but it eventually happened. So I'm going to do a similar strategy, though. I'm going to turn on Envenom, going to have him run down here. He does pretty overall solid damage, plus poison. So it's just like dodge, counter poison, and hit pretty hard kind of thing. So that stuff's all pretty well fun-like. Yeah, I wish I could just cause the video to split into two different parts. But such is life. Alright. So at this point I'm going to go ahead and turn on some of the dances here, like for example, True Strike and Resilient I typically put on as soon as the casters arrive, but can do some strengthen and dodge until then. So yes, a child has woken up. See, dual wield, 2 one-handed weapons seems to give a lot of stats. Does stats stack? They don't. It's only your primary weapon that gets its bonus stats. The second one is just a weapon. If you get racial bonuses, I believe those do stick, or if you get a parry bonus and stuff like that, those do stick. But usually they're not going to be as good as you get on other things anyway. If you do dual books, your character can become ridiculously racist, but, you know, aside from the fact that they're suddenly very welcome in the South, I don't think it really does too much that would break the game. But yeah. So I like to call this the Viper build. It's pretty fun to mess around with. We're looking out for slow here. 55, 25. Slow wouldn't really help too much. But yeah, so you can actually Berserk with this, which is pretty fun. I'm just going to show it off here. Typically what I like to do is have Envenom on, do a sort of counter poison Berserk from right here. So that's where I'm going to go and sit here for a minute. When more units get closer, we'll see what we deal. But so far, with this challenge, what I've figured out to be the kind of ideal start is just, if you get a couple of them down early on here, they tend to be less of a problem later on, obviously. And then after that point, it's just kind of trying to use poison to get past their healing here. But yeah, if you could use, if you end up getting all the stats from two one-handed weapons, friggin' double claws or double spears would be amazing. But anyway, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, he can counter poison and counter stun, because he's got that rock throw that stuns. But alrighty then. Alrighty. So, probably going to turn on Berserk here. You'd think I'd go for Speed Star, but no. Now we're going to go for a dance, turn on Pixie Dance, because the casters are just about within range. Now, I'm not sure how much Resilient really helps Ant's Petrification, but he's immune to stop, so if there's any Ice Casters, he's immune. If there's any fairies and whatever, they're just going to waste their turns. So there's that. If there's, yeah, so came in with an Ice Snake this time, so nothing to worry about there. Let's see here. Yeah, Healer's going to go for some of those far away ones, and yeah, that guy's gotten hit like He's only been hit twice, and he's already almost dead, so Heavy Spear is very solid on this. The reason for the heavy armor as opposed to a dodge build, like for example, I would say Helmet and Vest did the job pretty well too. It actually helped versus Petrification, but the reason that I go for this is if anything ends up actually hitting him, it does potentially give him a couple rounds to be able to recover out of it. So it's a little bit more reliable on paper. And then Speedstar is mostly there to counter slow. So if I can just basically keep topped off while doing this, works out just fine. Also, yeah, the whole thing for changing Mending Seeds to a to 100 instead of 150, I feel is definitely a nice one. So yeah, he'll get petrified. Hopefully, he'll be able to just come off of it. They'll probably waste a Dispel on him instead of a heal. Funnily enough, Tail Ash does have surprisingly decent odds of missing. I'll go for that Avalanche, despite the fact that it'll do nothing, because he's a statue. Statues aren't big on the whole magic thing, I guess. Oh, by the way, Mr. Riggs, random mechanical question for you. If, have you run into anything that would give an indicator in terms of being able to adjust the audio in any manner? Like, for example, being able to do a version where say, the music got turned off, which, as good as the music is in this game, when doing these on multiple occasions, I found myself hoping that there'd be a case where I'd be able to, just go and turn the music off in order to be able to just have the sound effects and just put the music in later in the background. So yeah, there we go. Draconic is the only thing that's going to really hurt a statue, so that's the problem with the tank build. Eventually they end up getting overrun that way. So if we go for something like Dynamo Plate, he'll usually hold up a little bit better in some ways. Dynamo Plate and Leggings was probably the farthest I've ever gotten on this. So we'll go for this type setup. But yeah, Ozma was mostly able to pull this one off because of the fact that she was able to tank while dual wielding. So, I mean, there was that. Theoretically, I could be able to dual wield with him too. But I don't have any cursed weapons on this one, and there aren't... I don't think there's any one-handed cursed weapons left at this point, are there? Actually, no, wait, the dagger. There's a few of them. I'm just being a bit of a dum-dum, as I tend to do. Let's have you go here. Yep, go for that Venom. I mean, the overall strategy for this one, I think, is just beat most of the melee guys, evade the debuff casters for a while. Unfortunately, came in with a rock dragon. Those are a little bit hard to deal with. But anyway, so yeah, just fight off at least half the melee guys. Create a bit of an opening to slowly go towards the healers. Use Bridle to break the healers, and then just basically poke them down and poison them down and everything else. It's just that, yeah, obviously this requires a lot of buffs and debuffs flying around. But if you go for a more evasive build, he can do stuff like this, where he's just sitting there completely surrounded, like, yeah, now I'm just going to take on everybody. Which tends to give him enough damage output that he can potentially beat out just about anyone. There we go. Stun. They don't seem like they've come in with too many healers here. I'm going to go for a Berserk, so that's going to wreck these guys. I will say, Berserk is amazing in these scenarios. Like, oh yeah, we have you surrounded. Like, no. I have you covered in a ton of damage is what's going on here. Let's see, maybe there's a way to garble the headers for some of the sound files. They wouldn't play them. Okay. I don't know how to do that, but I will see about figuring out how. There we go. All that extra poison on everybody. And yeah, they don't seem to have come in with too many healers this time. So this is why I like doing this with a spear as opposed to like some kind of heavier weapon. For one thing, the spear ends up giving a good bit of evasion here. For another, well, he's not... Crap, that's not great. Survive! Survive, come on. Okay. He's gonna go for a full heal and a back off here. Actually, let's go Speedstar. And yeah, Speedstar and just stand still. I'm gonna do the don't move dance. Stand still and don't move. Anyway, so yeah, one of the reasons that I like using the spear for this is because even when they don't have Berserk on, usually if they're completely surrounded, somebody will be behind that front guy, and then they can just get an extra double hit off on them. I just like the utility of spears in general. But it's nice, it's nice. Aw, what a bummer. Okay, that's fine. Is he set up for that again? Let's see, if we go Dynamo and Balder... Nah, it's a bad plan. If we go Damask and just full Damask, that probably wouldn't do great either. But yeah, this, like I said, this is the one that generally tends to have gotten the farthest. Kinda sucks, because that last one had a really, really nice layout of units. Didn't really see any healers going on either. But less healers means more offense. And got surrounded a little bit faster than I was expecting to. I was kind of hoping that he would maybe do a little bit more dodging, but oh well. So let's move right here. Typically that's why I want to keep a wall to your back. Oh well. Yeah, no, this is definitely not easy. Actually, the main comment came up... like, I've seen several cases over the course of the last few months where people were coming in like, oh man, the Lord isn't all super overpowered anymore. Why would I use it if I could use a specialist? Oh my god, it's so mean. Anyway, so yeah, then specifically, there was one recently on the Ozma video from last year. And so yeah, basically came in with a thing where they were saying like, oh yeah, you know, rip the Lord class, can't use it anymore. You know, it doesn't do all the things, and you know, I was kind of trying to point out to the guy, like, it can do a ton of crap now. Like, I would argue this is way stronger than the original in many ways, just because of stuff like this. Like, using a Poison Spear build. Dude, this crap is strong. Like, freaking Envenom plus a Heavy Spear plus Berserk is strong as crap. Like, if you have a healer behind this, yeah, those two can go ahead and wreck entire maps. It's great. Just like Arts of War in general, really strong on him. You got Draconic that's really strong on him. You got, let's see, you got, you could have a Heavy Rifleman out of him, which, again, you can use a pistol and armor with a Dragoon, and nobody else is able to use a rifle and armor, so, you know, again, full-on tank gunner. What else? Dual books. You got the dual book thing if you want to go for that. I like to call that the Educated 209. Because, yeah, he's just basically with 2 books, and you give him some dynamo plate or something, and a helmet, and a ring of vigor and all that, he's going to be tanky as hell. Just going and throwing out 4 hits at once. Just friggin' burst firing people with these books. It's great. Okay, so we got Giga Tempest here. You know what, I can probably throw out a Giga and go Berserk here. Yeah, this spot's pretty nice. Look at how nicely this just lined up. So, let's see. Let's go Giga Tempest. Oh, man. It's going to be nice. It's going to be nice. Let's see. Yeah, he might dodge. That would be a really nice one, but they might dodge. Yeah, no, screw it. I want to do it. And now he's still got all that AoE damage in front of him. God, that's good. So good. Like, I mean, he's properly the creative class now. So, one of the things I pointed out to the guy, like, as far as the original Lord class goes, like, for how much weird amounts of love that thing gets, it seems so odd to me that that the original was missing the ability to use Fusils. It seems like a really odd omission considering the circumstances, because around that same point, it's like, okay, you know, we just got the Fusilier, we got these cute, cool gun things. Oh, look, you got the Lord, he can do anything he wants. Cool, I want to use guns on him. You can't use guns on him. But you said I could just do... You can't use guns on him. You can't do it. You're not allowed. Like, but he just said they're awesome. You can't do it. You're not allowed. Anyway. So yeah, no, 1 versus 18 should never be easy. Never will be easy. But, oh, crap. That sucks. He's doing so well. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. The only downside to this build in particular is the fact that he ends up, the fact that he's pretty slow, all things considered, especially, you know, against this many units. But I will say, if you end up doing this exact same idea, except at, like, let's say level 50 or whatever, you can come in with all of his charm moves. So get this. You can Berserk, then you can go ahead and charm. Then you basically have like a bunch of units, like they surround you, they take a ton of damage, they get poisoned, they get charmed, they leave, next group comes in like, oh man, we're going to be the ones to fix this. Same thing happens to them, and you have an entire team that's slowly dying, that's attacking each other, and you can just kind of sit there and chuckle and grab your popcorn, because man, that crap's great. There's so much cool crap you can do with this. Like, especially with Arts of War. Like, Art of War, as far as I see it, is an absolute must, unless you're going Draconic. Let's see, the original Lord's like Paladin, it's a great class, but by the time you use it, you're already broken. Yeah, pretty much. Like, especially in what appears to now be the Japanese version, where you're probably at max stats by the time you get there. Though, again, I still think everybody being universally overpowered still better than what they did with the US version of everybody being universally garbage, unless you metagamed it. But, oh well. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know, the Lord class in the original, I was never a huge fan of the original version, just because of the weird limitations. Like, every time that I had an idea of like, oh man, here's this cool idea, I'm totally gonna go do it, and then I go and I get the PSP and I go and I give it a try. This was when I had my friggin' save file with everything on it. That still never went into Coda, like, to this day, because I can never stomach it in the original. Anyway, so it's like, oh man, here's this cool build. I get to it. You can't do it. You go to another one. You can't do that one either. Get to another one. You still can't do that either. Like, every single time. It's like, I want to, do something awesome with spears. We're sorry, spears suck. Okay, how can I don't know, can I maybe do something with guns? You can't use guns. Can I don't know, can I go ahead and combine preempt in here? You can't use preempt. It's like, you still can't use preempt, but you can use Mind's Eye now. So if you use Mind's Eye plus counter, I believe Mind's Eye can counter. In theory, that should be a really, really impressive setup. But anyway, it's just, yeah, there's so many limitations, and yeah, Speed Star and more healing items. Yeah, that's basically what I'm trying to do here. The thing is, it all comes down to whether or not the right stuff can be predicted. So I'm going to go Decoy here. It's probably not as good as some of the other stuff I could do here. Actually, yeah, Decoy will... Yeah, it's just going to prevent rocks. Decoy might help for overall survivability, but it's going to really suck in terms of getting damage out there. Actually, no way, yeah, you still can counter with Decoy, so I might run Decoy more often. Interestingly enough, I think you used to be able to counter Mighty Strike. Could be wrong on that. But yeah, Paladin in the original version, even after eventually getting it, and even after cheating it in one time, it's pretty friggin' underwhelming. Like, for how much effort you have to go through to pick up that thing. There was a whole lot of what were they thinking. Alright, let's go ahead and heal up a little bit here. I wish there was a way for him to use Regenerate at this point. I mean, I can put Divine on him and give him Regeneration, but it would be nice yet if... I don't think there's any class that has a Regeneration ability that he'd be able to use on himself. Because Aegis, he used to be able to self-target, I think. Oh crap, one sec. Alrighty, I'm back. We had a little bit of a falling down incident. Alright. So, new ideas. Let's go ahead and, what do I want to sacrifice here? I almost want to say get rid of Infusion, get Heal. I'm gonna try that. It's probably gonna be more of an offensive build in this particular instance, so let's go Divine. Now, what do you know for Divine already? Probably nothing. Okay, so learn all the things. Yeah, Heal 3 is probably what we're gonna end up using more than anything. Yeah, Evacuate, that'll be helpful. Major Heal, I'm sure that'll work. Okay. Rouse, what does he know? Not very much. So I'm gonna go pick up everything that he doesn't know from the store. Not from this store, though. Go sell all this. Get some of that Divinage up in here. I don't know what he does or doesn't have already. Ooh, Light Burst. You know, that could be really strong on him, actually. Yeah. He's probably not going to need Swiftness, but that does allow him to speed up on both sides of the turn. Learn all the things. He's just sitting there doing a cram session in the tent one day. He's like, oh, when did you become a friggin' priest super mage? Oh, I just did that last night. Dump Infusion. I like Infusion, though. It's pretty helpful. I mean, I guess if I can do a Heal 3 and a Berserk, that'll end up doing a better job. Yeah, kind of a shame that he can't be Lizard classes. It's the only thing he can't be. Which, by the way, that Lizard run that got abandoned a little while ago, I actually plan, at some point I actually plan to take over that. Go ahead and give it a little bit of a try, because that whole thing of running through with only Wizard classes, or only Lizard classes, just seems absolutely fascinating to me, so we'll see how that goes. Do I want to go with this? No, we don't. Actually, between all the helmets, so far the Damask, just like the standard Damask helm, is one of the few that's, as of yet, like, I've seen this useful on Juggernauts and Angel Knights, but other than that, I don't know. It seems very, very specific. Ah, crap, okay. I should clarify. For the Japanese version, the X and circle are switched. That's why I keep hitting the wrong button over and over. Alright. Let's do this thing. Alright, so no Infusion. Probably going to start off the fight with a bit of an MP boost. Actually, no, I'm going to go in Venom, because that just uses TP. I feel like the overall build works, because he's getting a good bit of stats from that thing. I don't have any Worm Scale. If I had some Worm Scale, that might be a bit of a different story. Also, because of the rain and everything else, I'm getting some weird emulation glitches. Alright, so we're just going to sit here. So yeah, counter Berserk plus Regenerate. That should be interesting. That should hopefully do just enough to keep him alive through a lot of things. And, Light Bursts... Actually, yeah, Light Burst plus Berserk plus Poison. That could be really strong, too. He doesn't really have anything boosting his intelligence, but still, though. Okay, how does this look? Not promising. Okay, Okay, gonna go for some early greed here, because this seems like a really strong attack right here. Okay. That's probably gonna end up getting punished real quick here. Yeah, I don't think I had enough for a Generate just yet. Yeah, Mighty Strikes are kind of the bane of his existence right now. See, Lord is not Lord without magic. I mean, he was using all kinds of crazy, like, dancey ninja magic before. But yeah, he's easily one of the strongest. Actually, I think he is the strongest Draconic user in the mod right now. Nice. Low chance to dodge, but yeah, he still managed to dodge it. He still managed to hit his really low percent chance to hit. Good stuff. Good stuff. Now my turn, please. Not for a while. Right. So, shouldn't have taken that greedy move. Should not have taken that greedy move. Let's try that again. In fact, let's give it a couple days to reset here so we're not fighting in the frickin' rain. Mostly for emulation issues, I really like the rain effect. Let's go ahead and save right there, and let's give this a go. Okay. Alright, so they might have some gremlin healers. Or, some fairy healers. Okay, and Venom as always. So we have to be the Viper and all that sort of thing. Yeah, when I was originally doing this, I kept seeing the thumbnail in my head of just like Denim's head photoshopped onto this one specific artwork of the Viper, where it's just like this one thing where there's all this dust blowing in the background, and everything else is just there with his poison spear. See, Apocrypha versus Draconic Magic, which one is better? That is entirely circumstantial, but I would say Apocrypha for general purpose stuff. And, yeah, let's pop Regenerate on here. Just enough for Regenerate. There we go. Apocrypha does more in terms of elemental damage. Draconic is going to be better the stronger weapon you have. So, for example, if you've got a guy with a heavy weapon against a single target, Draconic is going to do better, whereas Apocrypha is going to hit in an area and hit like a frickin' truck. So, there you go. It depends entirely on what you're facing and who you're using. And what you have them set up for. I'm pretty sure there's a more technical answer that Rakes could give you, but that's kind of the long and short of it as far as I see it. Okay, so Light Bursts, I don't have the points for. Can you attack that rock by chance? Yes, okay. Get ready to get all berserk-like on that rock then. Okay. And we're gonna go over here, gonna kite them out a little bit. Yeah, they don't seem to have much healing going on. We've got that one fairy healer in the back, possibly that gremlin. I think that guy might die of poison before anyone can get to him. Yeah, Denim is slowly regenerating. That's exactly what I want to see. Because I kept thinking over and over, like, Regenerate is the one thing that this build really needs to keep us up going. Do you run and use on Peapod? I could. Right now it feels like it's just well enough. Like, realistically, what I want is to be surrounded, but to be able to beat all of those units before they're able to build up enough TP to cause any serious issues. So I'm thinking, yeah, there we go. That guy dies of poison, we retreat out the back, and then we start heading towards that upper wall area to the right. Alright, there we go. Perfect. Couldn't have expected that to go any better. Now, really what I was looking for Light Burst for was to see how much damage it did. It doesn't look like it's going to be doing very much here. He's not really set up as a caster build, though. So Light Burst essentially does Tier 2... Oh, I need Light Burst 2, that's what I need, derp. That'll probably explain it. Helps to use the right ability, like a not dum-dum. Whatever, let's just re-up Regenerate then. Turn on Speed Star. You know, in many ways, he kind of can turn into a Risk of Rain character, where he's just running around not even firing, but he's getting all of his damage from different kinds of hit effect procs. And by the way, if you've never played that game, you basically it's kind of like Binding of Isaac, except you're in space and in what looks like Metroid, and you just run around, you fight stuff, you get money from fighting stuff, and then you end up spending that money on items, and you get just a bunch of randomized items. And each of those things are just something like, okay, you have a 5% chance that when you fire, this rocket launcher on your shoulder will fire a rocket up into the air and hit a random enemy. Or you have a chance to launch a mortar, or you have a chance to dodge, or you have a chance to increase your defense. Or the best one, for every enemy you kill, you get 1 extra HP, which... I don't know how that item got in there, because, man, that is the most OP thing I've ever seen in the game, period. But, anyway. So you get all kinds of stuff like that going on. And so you keep doing that over and over and over and over and over. Let's see if we can do some good with this. Yeah, it feels like we're kind of maxing out fairly early on that. Slow? What about slow? No? Alright. Well... in that case, let's just re-up in Venom for now. Just to make sure that doesn't run out. And go for that counter berserk. But anyway, yeah, so it gets pretty ridiculous pretty fast. Because for each one of those things, you can actually collect multiple. And those things will stack. And there was one time, for example, I was watching a 100-hour-long run. Because you get to the last level, and then you basically have the option of, like, would you like to fight last boss, or would you like to randomize your levels and start again? And so you can keep doing that. I mean, hell, you could stay on one level and potentially just keep fighting bosses, getting an item each time, until you eventually just beat the thing. And yeah, it just gets progressively more and more nuts. But okay, so, what am I getting at here? I am needing to heal, that's what I need to be getting at. Why don't I have heal 3? I don't know. I think he doesn't have the level to use heal 3 just yet. Oh well, he still gotta regenerate. So yeah, it finally gets to the point where you can see somebody running along, and it's like they get hit by something, but it technically counts as an attack because they have an armor that reflects damage back on whatever attacked them. But then that counts as an attack, so all of a sudden all the abilities have a chance to proc, so they've got like a triple missile launcher, a single missile launcher, a mortar, spirit bombs, I kid you not, friggin', how was I think it was like flying machetes or something. It's like you basically have like 20 different attack effects that suddenly all proc at once and have basically a 100% chance after they've stacked up so many. So they're just like this flying tornado of friggin' all kinds of craziness flying around all over the place all the time. And they can just sit in one place and just the entire map gets dead over and over and over and over and over. On a high enough difficulties, like it's... oh man. That one Draconic coming in! One friggin' Draconic. Okay, let's try Evasive. Let's try full Evasive. See how that handles it. There we go. Yeah, that False Strike is killing me, exactly. Figure it out. Figure it out. We'll make this work. But yeah. It gets nuts. So if you've never played it, would definitely recommend playing it. It's like $10 basically on everything. And honestly, I think it's better than Binding of Isaac, which I guess some might say is blasphemy, but I just think it does the formula in a more fun way. Because you never... That's the one thing I have against Binding of Isaac. It's just the whole thing, like, oh, you didn't memorize the right color of the syringes. Well, congratulations, you picked up the one that randomized all your stats. And now suddenly, your friggin' 6 attack power went down to 1, you are now really fast, and so fast to the point that you hit the button and fly across the screen. Congratulations, your run is impossible. That kind of stuff ain't great. But anyway, that is a very, very out-of-place criticism in this type of situation. Yeah, the False Strike was killing me there. I should definitely make sure to use ease next time, and also going over here. That would definitely help. Alright. Nom. Well, case Knight Commander. Another thing. Well, yeah, Knight Commander is, in terms of raw strength, a bit better. It should also be noted that when I was doing that particular run, I had them do it at level 10. So I'm gonna do that again for level 20. I'm actually planning to do all the classes doing this kind of thing, just kind of like a generalized pressure test to see how they handle a 1 versus 18 situation. At level 20. At just approximately level 20. I'm just going to use a general approximation of these things. Like right now, the strongest solo fighter in the game, as far as I'm concerned, is actually the Buccaneer. So I'll show that off in just a sec here, but a Buccaneer with a gunblade, surprisingly, or just dual swords for that matter, surprisingly effective. Like, they can seriously dodge like an absolute mofo the entire time. They can dish out damage like nobody's business. And on top of that, they basically got options to take on just about anything. And if they ever fail to evade, they've also got evade as an actual skill, so they can nullify the first attack that hits them. Like, it's great. They are, as far as I'm concerned, the best solo fighter right now. Okay, let's go Berserk. Let's go ahead and go Lion Dance. Alright, so we get Dodge and Strengthen, so that should help deal with these first few. Thing is, as long as I can start getting a kind of roll going on taking these guys down, then we're in business here. Yeah, all of the gremlins and fairies will just run around, keep trying to use Infernal Dance over and over. You know, I kind of wonder if that's why they accept 0%. Like, if in the original they were thinking, you know, everything has high enough stats that nothing should ever have 0%. Maybe that's why they never considered to put it in there as a thing to stop. Maybe? I don't know. Anyway, let's re-up Regenerate here. Just to make sure that keeps on going. I'm going to try to re-up that as much as I can. Because I want all damage to come from counter Berserks. The Pyrate's OP. Come to think of it. Man, having a Pumpkinhead run, that should be interesting. It's like nothing but pies the entire time. It's like pumpkin heals, pumpkin bombs, pumpkin explosions. Man. You know what? Mr. Rakes, how hard would it be to cook a code for a party of pumpkins? That sounds like a really fun run. Actually, yeah, you know what? Scrooge run for Christmas. I probably should have tried Pumpkin run for Halloween, but whatever. Maybe do that as a post-Scrooge? You know. Lord use Gunblade? No, it's the one thing that he, the Gunblade and instruments are the only things he can't use. Actually, there was one build I was considering that I was a little bit bummed out that I couldn't do, which was to be able to do, wait, hang on. There's heal 3 down here for some reason. No. The only reason I'm checking is because I had these redone. I redid these a little while ago in order to try and do stuff a little bit differently. Let's go re-up Berserk. Let's see, Pan did a run of Blizzards. Don't know how hard that was to mod. I actually have the code that I used. So I can literally use the exact same code to do that run. I was considering to do the Lizard run later, because I know he got tired of that run. Because there's a few tricks that you kind of need to probably pick up before doing that. Like, try these few simple tricks, like for example Flying Swordmasters, which I guess I kind of also turned from a Lizard to just like a generalized Beast run at some point. I feel like Flying Swordmasters would have saved his run a good bit. One thing that oftentimes gets missed in terms of grinding for this game or whatever else, you literally just need like 2 Parompa fights and you're basically good to go with almost any class in the game. So it's not nearly as bad as it may have been perceived at the time to start a new class. Alright, come on, survive! Survive! We got this. Where in the hell is my Regenerate? Okay. Let's go get heal 2 up there. Yeah, I think he does have heal 3, he's just slightly short on level. Let's see here. Yeah, he needs 24 for that. Dang. Okay, Speed Star. He's regenerating, so hopefully his next turn will come fast enough. Let's see. Wouldn't be hard at all? Sweet. Sweet! All the sub-weapons of pumpkins. Dang right. Just throw around pumpkins the entire time. I like to think that they would work like... You know how you've got the holy water for your sub-weapons there, but instead they like throw down a pumpkin and it just starts like shooting out pumpkin bisque. It's just like shooting out soup. Oh man, that sounds delicious. I really want some, God. Bring an autumn squash soup, man. That stuff is amazing. It is freaking delicious. Please miss. Ah, dick. Alright, well, that got closer. That got closer. But, I feel like we need something a little bit different here. Funnily enough, I could go for dual spear. What I did try to do a little while ago was actually a spear and shield, which they can survive this. The spear and shield build, if they go for a tank setup, they can survive this pretty much indefinitely. Thing is, they don't have enough damage, so yeah. You know, let's show that off actually. So let's go spear and shield. Let's go. Actually, let's go light shield. I think. No, that's heavy. Yeah, let's go light shield. Get that trident out here. Think of it skill-wise. What else do you have going on here? You got one-handers. You know what? That's what we need to do here. Let's go one-handers. Even having him just maybe do a generalized two-hander build might be ideal. I don't know. Anyway, let's go for that. So full evasion. He's friggin' strong as hell with this setup. I know that much. All the same stuff should still apply. So there we go. Those 2 extra ranks will give him about, I think it's 10% extra damage. It's 5% extra dodge and damage per rank, right? Something like that. Let's see. Hurricane's Gunblades because Shoot Command works as a class-specific finisher, which then will show up for all weapons in the class. It works for Buccaneer because you can't normally use 2 swords. It's a bit of a workaround, yeah. So yeah, technical limitations and all that. Okay, so it's amazing how much cool stuff is in here considering the amount of technical limitations going on. So this right here, just Denim as an evasive sword fighter. Like once you get to rank 8, you're getting a ton of good dodges and everything else. See, by the way, I seem like Spears a lot. Is there any game where you started to like Spears? Knight of Lotus, specifically. Because in that one, my favorite run of the entire game that I did, I want to say like 6 or 7 times actually, was to go and use all of those little hidden drop tiles that are available early on, and essentially use those to. Sorry, I'm just going through my menus real quick here. Essentially use those to pick up a bunch of early spears, and then just take a bunch of basic soldiers, surround a guy, and then you just have like 4 guys on each side of something. It doesn't matter how low their damage is, you just have them stab back and forth, and they have 100% counter damage in that one. So they will, so they basically all just like stab the guy, their friend blocks, because they're facing them. Friend blocks, they counter stab, so they hit the guy again, then their other friend blocks, and then you just keep doing that back and forth, and they just keep getting attacks over and over and over. So you can attack somebody 8 times in a single round using only 4 guys. It's pretty great. I absolutely love it. I might show that off at some point. It's easily my favorite trick in Knight of Lotus. It's so simple, but it's so satisfying, you know? It's okay. I think this might work, because his evasion and damage is high enough with a one-hander at this point where he can generally still get past a lot of armors. But for the stuff that he can't, he's got friggin' bad blood. Just look at that. That right there, that is going to be a thing that ends up solving a lot of problems, because it gives Envenom. Also, it's about to get loud. Hang on. Alright, never mind. False alarm. But yeah, needless to say, I really like spears and poisons in just about any game where they appear. Ah, dang it. That healer was within range. That's annoying. Whatever. Okay, so yeah, interestingly enough, poison, I found out that poison does not overwrite Envenom. Envenom will overwrite poison, but not the other way around. So I'm glad that they actually had that in there. But yeah, they're already needing to throw out the high-tier heals and everything. I think this will be the way to do it. Just because he's got really high-ranked swords. Probably if I got rank 8 on spears. Would Shravdus be able to... It's a maybe on whether Shravdus would be able to pull it off. Because I think that might potentially sweep up a bunch of stuff. I don't know for sure. But yeah, I absolutely love that spear trick. And do you do any more with this now? Not enough to really bother. Okay, go ahead and heal yourself up then. Keep on going. Alright, and actually, you know what? Hang on. While they're running their next turn, I need to go do my usual rounds here, so give me about a minute and a half, give or take. Hello, I'm back. Yeah, took a little bit longer than expected, as per usual, due to a random guest appearance from the stankiest diaper you have ever seen. Anyway, so, first off, before I forget, friggin' decoy. How have I forgotten that up to this point? And the only other reasonable thing we can do here is probably run a speed star. Right, that's why I didn't use... Forgot to activate them in the right order. So yeah, interestingly enough, you cannot put buffs on yourself with decoy. It's kind of dumb. I don't know if there's anything that can be done changing that, because I think it's probably an engine thing. But dang, that is some seriously dumb crap that you can't do that. Anyway, so let's see. Where are the troops? Oh man, all the cows. Actually, come to think of it, dude. Speaking of readying troops and cows, I was mentioning Spyro earlier. Man, there was a developer on that must have been really spiteful one day. Because they have one bit, like, most of it is pretty simple, like, you can kind of see how the jumping and gliding and everything poses for... Oh, hi child, what's up? Oh my goodness. Okay, she's terrified of one kid, so she's like, come here, save me from this kid, I don't want to play with other people. Give me a moment, please. Okay, that was hilarious. Like, runs up to me and is like, Dad, my cousin wants to play with me. Please don't make me socialize. Oh, well, sometimes you gotta socialize. Right, anyway, so to address all the questions from there. First off, as far as FFT, Jot 5 and 1.3, played Jot 5, or rather, watched Jot 5. Seemed pretty fun. I didn't play it personally, but was really curious to see where they went with the story on that. I don't know if it ever got finished. I think they were finishing up Chapter 2 like a year ago. Don't know for sure. Anyway, so 1.3, played it, wasn't a huge fan. I really liked all the new features and everything, but it's just, man. I don't know. There was just a lot about it. It was just, it seemed like it required way too much. Like, oh, you know, I gotta go revive this guy, and they'll be back for exactly, like, half a second. During that half a second, I have to go throw a buff on this guy, who then has to go counter this thing over here, and it's just, I don't know. It felt a little bit too, for lack of a better term, kick you in the dick difficulty. Like, it just felt like at times it was being difficult for the sake of being difficult more than anything. It's a really good mod, but anyway, what I would recommend is if you liked 1.3 but also thought the difficulty was some BS, check out, well, I guess technically you can't check it out yet, but whenever it gets released, there's been a mod in the works that's kind of like a better version of 1.3. It's like a more common sense version of 1.3. Closer... I don't want to say it's closer in mentality to the design of One Vision. So that's the Cerebro mod that I've been covering every now and then, but that one's pretty darn nifty. It's not out yet, I'm still finishing it up, but the overall mentality is fairly similar. Anyway, so yeah, like Rake said, yeah, let's see, usual sets are expanded. It's easier to complete a Dragon Slayer set, you need 2 instead of 3. Or any two-hand weapon with a racial bonus versus dragons. So yeah, he made him better. Also, for the Legions, or it's now called the Legion set, but the Stinky set usually it didn't really make sense before. And bear in mind, I was looking for sets, like specifically I wanted to find a candy set from Night of Lotus in this, which unfortunately doesn't exist. But there was the Legion set, or now it's called the Legion set, where it's basically you have one guy that's just immune to aggro for all intents and purposes. But previously it was known as the Stinky set. It just had a bunch of items that were like unique, but there wasn't really a whole lot that said that they were the same thing. Like you had the Stinky, or let's see, you have the shiny helmet, which honestly, helmet being shiny does not tell me, hey, this thing smells bad. You had a bamboo sword, and they're like, lots of people use this for training. Still doesn't tell me it smells bad, because usually most of the equipment that was in any dojo I've been to, most of the time all that equipment gets cleaned off, so I don't think it stunk that bad. Also, wow, that damage. Yeah, one-hander is definitely the way to go for this one. Because, yeah, with the high DPS weapons, once you get them to really high ranks, you can do some pretty cool crap. Oh man, you know what, I should probably do a Palpion, not a Palpion reel, the Sakura Demon. Put everybody to sleep. Oh man, if I can get a... Yeah, that would give a good recovery turn, actually. This might be the perfect time to do it, too. I was gonna say, if he blocks that especially... Oh man, why'd you have to knock her back? Whatever, this is fine. Let's go ahead and turn on Speed Star, because I want him to get his next turn quicker. And let's go Sakura, so that's basically AoE plus sleep. So there we go, get wrecked, suckers. There we go. Dead, dead, dead. Man, this is frickin' strong right here. Alright, anyway. So yeah, what else was there? You had the, yeah, so Odiferous Waster. Like, I guess that kind of tells you that it stinks, but really, kind of thing, you know? Okay, that's suddenly going really poorly. Dang it, we had such a good turn, please, please. Dodge it all. Skip forward until you fall. The song's weirdly fitting for this. Oh, dang it! It's like the kind of situation that makes you wish for re-raise in this game. You know what? Let's go Dynamo. Dynamo up in this crap. Maybe evasion? Do I want to go evasion? I gotta steal evasion. I guess he's got enough evasion from his general skills to be okay with this. Let's see, probably more greasy than shiny. Fair enough. Let's see, Vanilla Wiki says Ogre Set gives 99 physical defense on top of its OP and 1 vision. Can Lord use Ogre Shield? I think, yeah, the Lord, I'm sure Rakes can confirm this, the Lord can use everything that isn't gender-locked, that isn't an instrument, and that isn't a gunblade. So that should be a hard yes on that one. So yeah. Let's go for that in Venom. Go for a weight. Actually, probably should go for a Strengthen here. Go for a Strengthen, that should really boost his defense or his offense for a while, might help him break through a little bit easier. But yeah, Ogre Set just basically maxes out your physical stats. Why am I going for that at all? What I need to be doing is dancing. Should be dancing, yeah! And then we'll go regen next round. Alright. Come at me then. Don't know why you didn't attack. Why you no attack, soldier? Do you have 0% chance to hit? So yes, he's a neutral class now, so he can go for both light and dark. So yeah, because, truth be told, considering that you get the Lord how you do, why does he have to be a light class? How does that make any sense? Like, why does he have to be the good guy? A whole big theme of the game is he's a complete dickbag at times, so it makes sense for him not to really be the out-and-out good guy. He's the protagonist, not the hero. That'd be funny if you could potentially combine Speed Star and Boon of Swiftness, just to get Hyper Haste. I should probably move regenerate higher in the list, so I'm not scrolling down for it every time. Oh! Actually, I think he's not necessarily getting through. Doesn't feel like Strengthen's adding very much to that. Does Jiggler Set still give 999 range attack? It doesn't go quite that high, but it's still, I believe, the strongest range damage you can get. It's all jiggly. It's all jiggle. I can't believe they called it the Jiggly set. Honestly, you'd think everything jiggling around would be a little bit harder to aim. Heal 2. Go over some of that berserk. I'm gonna wreck some fools then. Oh, that's adorable with that healing. Interestingly enough, when he does these counter rocks, yeah, he does have the ability to stun. So potentially he's getting some good bonuses out of that too. Wait a minute. What just happened there? Yeah, he had Berserk, didn't he? Let's see. They attack. Oh, there we go. There it goes. What? Oh, that other guy's on the cliff. That's what it is. I thought he was right here. Derp. I was like, what happened? Why did my damage not take place? Not really? Hang on, did I give something wrong on that? Is it not the highest range damage? I know it's really freaking strong, that's for sure. Highest range damage I can think of. I could be wrong on that, but this is word of God over here. As the saying goes, ask the guy who made it. But yeah. So you don't max out your stuff as easily. Oh, I should probably mention, by the way, as far as maxing out your stats and things like that, bear in mind that the stats are actually accurate now. So in the old version, when you ended up getting augments and things like that, a lot of times elemental damage ended up showing way higher damage than it actually did, and in some cases it apparently just had it completely wrong. So the numbers on the right weren't accurate, like especially once you got into late game, it just didn't know what to do. So at this point, all those are corrected. Also, you dick, you don't counter with a friggin' low % chance to hit, Mr. Dighole. Probably the best thing to do is arguably to please miss. Yep. Probably keep going until I have a very lucky day for Venom. So if you don't know how that goes, every single day you seemingly have a thing where you can just become really lucky. Got your daily luck kind of situation going on. Alright, so vest. Okay, what if we went Dynamo Helmet? Alright, let's see how this holds up. In fact, what if we went heavy on him? Go heavy shield, get deflect. Now that parry bonus is really good though. Funnily enough, I haven't seen him parry much this time. Too many guys grab my under strike, so let me strike down this demon. I will say, one trope that's always kind of bugged me about a lot of things coming out of Japan, why does it always gotta be demons? Why can't you not have demons? You gotta get bored of those at some point. Like, I mean, sure, they're all big and evil and whatever, but you can't have demons all day. You gotta have some other stuff in your antagonist diet, you know? Like, I think I mentioned this before. Biggest bummer I've ever seen was this thing, this one Japanese show that a friend had suggested years ago called Paranoia Agent. It was kind of like, almost like a sort of X-Files-y kind of thing for a good long while. Except the recurring antagonist was just like this dude where anytime somebody got really desperate and was just at the end of their rope, somebody would come by, beat the hell out of them, and it would usually improve their life, which is... It would either improve their life or kill them. It was a weird thing as far as that went. But it was really interesting. Like, for the majority of it, it was really interesting. And then they get to the very end. They're like, oh no, it was demons the whole time. Also, the kid was just kind of really lucky the entire time, and he was just LARPing. Also, LARPing is evil. Also, your protagonist is now a LARPer. And, oh, also, guess what? They are now LARPing so hard, they are stabbing a demon in the sky. Like, what? Where the hell did this crap come from? This was a friggin' detective show like 10 minutes ago. What is this crap? Like, it was the cringiest end I've ever seen to anything I can think of, really. No, Tusk. Tusk was the cringiest ending to anything I've ever seen. But that was pretty darn close. Let's see. Did you also need to try a lot of times in that commander? Yes. So that one took about as many tries. Basically, I just got really lucky because they were lining up just right for the win that ended up succeeding. So yeah, it did end up taking quite a few tries. It's funny because at first I tried just running it on AI, but at the time, she was definitely a bit on the stronger side, especially at that level. The level that I ended up doing that challenge at was not in the 20s. It was at about I think it was 12 or so. So if you end up looking at the leveling gap, she was like right at the very top of where she needed to be. This was also before the armor revamp, so she was able to do a ton of damage with light weapons. She's one of the few classes that was able to do a ton of damage with light weapons at the time. So much so that with instills, she was able to one-shot units. So yeah, it's probably worth redoing just to see how that goes. Oh, that's 70% Petrifog! Yeah, you're probably screwed now! Unless you somehow get really lucky on your petrification. Yeah, no. He did! He did! Yeah, I feel like the build works. It's just a matter of getting this to work right. Yeah, I feel like Dynamo and Leggings, that's probably the strongest way to do this, because he's still got a good bit of evasion. I guess he's not really running into enough stun that he needs an item specifically to avoid it. But that's getting... What a Seal of Might, how would that do? That would lower his attack. What about Finesse? Yeah, I don't have a Seal of Finesse. So Azor's probably going to be doing him the best here. Alright. Let's look at his skills real quick. See, Art of War still holds up. That's doing a lot in terms of poison. He's got an anti-heavy, he's got AoE. He doesn't really... Summon probably wouldn't help him that much. If I were to replace Arts of War with something else, what would it be? Augment Light, maybe? Maybe it might boost his heal a slight bit, maybe a few points. Might scale up a little bit. Overpower, I don't see him getting hit that much. And Still Earth, maybe, but I don't see that happening. Now, I've got counter hit 2 on there. Double attack... not really. Max TP could potentially be useful. Reflect damage, I mean, you know what? Let's try that. Let's try replacing that with Reflect damage and see how it goes. Probably want to do Reflect Magic, actually. By the way, I realize that I probably could be making this much easier with Recruit and Coax. I'm trying not to use those. Yeah, let's do Reflect damage and see how that goes. Alright, let's do this crap. Heal 2 heals lower than the 50% item. That it does. See, this demon's not demon, totally different. Oh, it's a different demon? Well, fair enough, fair enough. I mean, he's like the king demon over there. They friggin' called the guy Lucifer. Oh well. Okay, so we don't have a poison block right off the bat. What else do we have? Probably just to attack. And we won't have... Yeah, we don't have dances either. Yeah, let's go ahead and just do this. I'm gonna go Aryan Plume here. Go for the counter. Okay. So we'll do that. Right, so doing okay damage there. If we're going for this kind of setup where he's not really doing as much, I may slowly want to work myself towards the healers. So if I just go forward, go ahead and activate Regenerate here. So I think that gremlin up there is their healer this time around. We'll find out pretty quickly. Yeah, if he does this, he can focus on healing. Hopefully knock these guys down over time. Okay, he's an attacker, so that one on the top might be their healer. Okay. This is possible. Yeah, if they only come in with one healer, then it's basically easy mode. That's the easiest it can be. Oftentimes they come in with 2 healers, and that's the issue. Stagger and False Strike, that's... gonna have to ease out of that, I think. Okay. This will put everybody to sleep, which should keep him relatively safe. Skill-wise, he can speed star up at that point. And then hopefully this will give him enough speed to be able to regenerate a tiny bit, and then recover by next turn. He only has one direction that he has to worry about attacks. Oh, come on, 26%? Seriously, that's what we're doing here? Alright, hopefully casters keep their distance. Demon is a software, Demon Tools. Fair enough. Okay, I don't know if... Balkel? Do you know which demon we're talking about? Because that is weirdly fitting. Just curious. Okay. Well, let's see here. What are we getting out of our 50% at this point? 170. It'll do. It's for the lower type setups. The 50% item is about the same as the heal 2. For some of the faster ones, or for some of the other ones, though. Like, for example, if he goes for a heavier setup, it'll end up healing more. If he goes for a lighter setup, the heal 2 will heal more. Demon is Drone's Damon? It is. It's actually funny because I actually have a relative named that. But, oh well. And yes, it totally is. But yeah, anyway, the reason that I find it funny, so the Daemon that we're talking about is from Armored Core Last Raven. So they have an AI arena in that, and the very head of the AI arena is a guy named Daemon, and he is a massive dick. Like they, oh man, that disembowel though, survived 1 health, got killed by a WAP 3. Dang it. Okay, this is possible though. What I need to do is go for those healers. So we're gonna go full evasion. Full evasion, go crazy dodgy. Just go all crazy skills like on this crap. But yeah, so yeah, he's a massive dickhole. They literally set up a situation where they have a guy that is that's the head of the arena, uses the worst, arguably worst weapon in the series, and yeah, usually proceeds to kick you in the nuts regardless. So yeah, fun stuff, fun stuff. I didn't turn on Reflect Damage this time, but whatever. We're going for Evasive, so we shouldn't hopefully need that. So instead, I'm gonna try to charge straight through, look for little openings to break through, and yeah, try to corner and take out their healers. See me on Monday, everyone hates Monday. Just kidding. I think everyone hates Monday, though. It's very true. Garfield, the prophet of everyone hating Mondays. But, yeah, I think ever since just everything became completely internet-based and everything else, it's even less so about Mondays. It's just the fact that it's the one day that you're forced to actually give a crap about stuff going on at work. Though I will say, I personally despise holidays on Mondays, which is a weird thing. Because for so often, like for the longest time I had a business basically buying and selling things online. And when it came to a lot of the bigger ticket items, people always had a tendency to promise me payments on Monday, because most sales will end up happening on weekends. People go online and they go and they buy things. I'm like, okay, I'll totally go pay you on Monday. And it became a running joke that my wife would basically go and mention, like, oh yeah, guess what, Monday's a holiday. Over and over and over. Because I would repeatedly have to go check, because so often there would be a holiday on a Monday. And every time there was a holiday on a Monday, every one of those people, like, without exception, there was never a single exception in years. If they promised a payment on a Monday, they would immediately cancel on Tuesday because they didn't make their payment on Monday. Because they had an extra day to think about whatever they were doing, and something caused them to panic. This happened every single time, and that's always how it goes. So the things in questions were like crappy rehabs, and yeah, it's one of those things where, one of those projects where they deliberately even tell you when you go to seminars, if you think, like if you put too much thought into how you're gonna actually make your rehab happen, you're never gonna make it happen. It's just one of those things that it's gonna have so many logistical clusterfucks in the way that you're basically in a position where you just kind of have to accept that you're not gonna know. You're not gonna know how you're gonna pull this project off. you may have some general plans. You need to expect every single one of those plans to go completely out the window. So it's one of those type of situations. Now, let's go... This is when I would have liked HP Infusion. Anyway. So we're going to go Mendleaf here. Let's go Berserk. And let's go ahead and put our back to this rock. This should hopefully allow that guy on the right to attack and move away. Hopefully the Berserk behind the rock won't have the opportunity to act on time. Which hopefully should cause a bit of an opening to form up, at which point he can circle around and start going towards that healer again. We'll see how this goes. Let's see, sounds like a Demon Monday Curse. Let's see, Burst Rifle and 2 Spread Bazookas are worse than Selkie. I don't know, I disagree on that. Those Spread Bazookas, especially the, I think it was the Hydra 2. Or no, the, what's it? I think it was the Giant 2 that I'm thinking of. Them things, if you used them right, could be devastating. Like, if you combine them with anything with some solid punch to it, like if you combined it with a regular bazooka, and then you just did, like, bazooka followed up by a close-range spread, dude, that thing could wreck. It's really good. Just basically anything with some stun on it, so even a sniper rifle could potentially do the trick. Okay, let's do a similar thing here. Let's go ahead and heal 2. See, like right here, 107 plus, how much are we getting off the second one? Plus 45, so we're still doing 152. So it's similar, but not quite there. Let's do that. Let's see, Giant is good, the other's garbage. Yeah, pretty much. I don't really know why. It's some very slight break in stats as far as why the others are garbage. But yeah, the burst rifles absolutely suck. I've seen some people pull them off, but by and large, they're some pretty hot garbage. Not as bad as they were in Silent Line, but still pretty awful. Also, you know what? Hang on. One sec. While they're taking their turn, need to go make the rounds again. Hello. Okay, sorry about that. The rounds are done. Alright, so... Oof. Looking pretty dire in the health department right now. But hopefully his speed will be able to make this work. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and, yeah, leave this next turn to just kind of happen. I could probably optimize this a little bit by testing which unit he's going to be facing next. Make sure that he's always taking as low chances as possible. Though, like, right there, he seems to be doing a fantastic job of getting hit anyway. So, nah. Alright. Potatoes were the only 2 people to beat Demon Rockets. Wait, who? Did Superfleet do it too? I didn't know Superfleet did it. Also, like I said earlier, this technically does 2 more health than the 50% item. So it does 107 plus 45. Or 56 in that case, so it's scaling up even higher. So at that point it's doing like 160 something. Okay, so small opening happened, but it's not going to be enough to actually break, so I'm going to go ahead and throw a Berserk out there. What are we looking here? Yeah, he's starting to make some headway. But it's going to take actually breaking somebody. So I can keep trying to use that item, but yeah, the item won't necessarily be more helpful. Plus, I think the heal is slightly faster. Alright, we just gotta wait for an opening to happen so that he can go deal with that gremlin. Because if he can use a finisher on it, then he can completely shut them down, follow it up with a kill move. Probably just use the demon move on him, hopefully have enough health at that point, put him to sleep, and then put him down permanently. Let's go for another heal too. Let's see, where do you find Demon? He's literally just at the top of the AI arena. He's just up there. He's like, hey, check out my crappy machine gun. By the way, the reason that I say that the Silky's the worst, like even with some of those other crappy weapons in there, like the burst rifles, they suck, but they don't take energy. The Silky, it both sucks and it sucks your friggin' generator dry. Like, basically, if you've never played AC before, it's this thing where it's kind of like if you think about like Dark Souls with mechs, it's literally the same people that made it. But basically, just like think of the stamina mechanic, except it's energy. So whenever you that walking doesn't cost anything, but if you boost forward, like if you dash forward, if you hop in the air, if you fire energy weapons, it all boosts your generator, and then you have an entire stat dedicated to how quickly you recover that. Also, it's time to re-up in Venom after this recovery round. Go do a quick round real quick. You know it's quick because you call it quick. But anyway. Up. Not on just the PS2, it's on the PSP too. Wait, that sounds... Sounds funny, but whatever. Yeah, this is definitely the way to do it. It's just a matter of timing. Oh, thank you, Parry. Thank you, Parry. Because yeah, his speed is just right. He's getting his turns relatively quick. He's basically able to nullify most of the damage coming in. Ah, crap. Had to go down eventually, but yeah, this, I feel, is the build to pull it off. And the way to do it is just to get close to the healer and take him out, so... Okay, I have time for one more attempt at this. So I think what I'm going to do, similar to what I was doing with the spear build, is pull back to that right corner. I'll kind of use the tree to block some stuff off on the top there. And then essentially go and turn on, what the hell is the friggin' climbing move? Escalade. There we go. For some reason I thought the actual move was called something different. So use poison and high damage early on, then use Escalade to get out of that whole situation, so if I take a corner or something like that, that'll probably work best. Use Escalade to go attack their healer once they present themselves, and then just kind of go from there. Alright. So using that, he should be able to beat this. But yeah, by the way, if you're checking out Armored Core, do not start with Last Raven. It's like, imagine if, again, Souls is just a more common example. Imagine if you took Souls, right? Most of them were balanced like a, let's say, DS1, right? Something similar to that. But you just wound up with a situation where, you know, you could lose pretty easily, but generally speaking, you could tell that there was thought put in there to make everything fair. Then, I would argue Last Raven is, let's say, you're trying to play Bloodborne while drunk. That's the best way I can describe that. It's just like they put in all the fancy new mechanics and everything, but then also a lot of the older mechanics just don't function in that certain situation. Like, it's funny, throughout the entire series, they make it a whole point of like, okay, why exactly do we have AC? So why do we have these giant mechs? You know, what's the point? You know, why would anybody use these? And they're like, okay, you know, we have... They start off every mission with like, look, here's this giant thing, we sent our army, they died, we need a mercenary. So they, you know, they do that. Like, the whole shtick is just you have a giant mech that's basically made of Legos, yeah, they're able to be customized to whatever situation they need them for, but they're basically walking death traps. So, anyway, bit of a downer for anyone that's in one, that they have no way to get out of it, technically speaking, despite the fact that you do so regularly throughout the series. But yeah, so you're kind of just locked into the thing, but it can become anything that you need it to. Which means you can build some really stupid stuff, which I personally love doing. Also, hang the friggin' hell on one moment. Okay, I'm back. Never mind, false alarm on that. Okay, so... let's go a little bit offensive here. These guys just lined themselves up perfectly. So if they're going to do that, I will take that opportunity to take a little bit of a recovery turn and take a step back. So let's take this spot right here. I almost had him. That's the thing, you just need to aim for the legs, I'm telling you, man. Break his legs. Probably not what you want to hear going into a fight, but yeah. There you go. That's the answer. Okay, perfect. Now, by the way, speaking of Last Raven there, and I mention this only because I want to talk about something completely different, but speaking of things with really terrible intros, or rather, introductions, just like tutorials, let's say. So yeah, the very first mission in that game, you have 3 options. The one that a lot of people go for because they look at the options and are like, would you like to become one of these guys over here that want to basically see the world burn, or do you want to, you know, go with the status quo and just generally get paid and all that kind of thing? Thing is, if you go for that one with going with the status quo, you have a fight against one of the hardest ACs in the entire game right off the very bat, to the point where they literally can blow your limbs off with a single shot. So that's the hell of a friggin' intro right there. Like, oh yeah, welcome to the game. Just so you know, your arms and head are now missing. You can function without a head, by the way. Your pilot's actually in the core of the thing, so your head getting blown off just basically affects all of your scanning abilities and whatever else. Screws up your computer, ruins your radar, but whatever. It's, let's just say it's harsh. That was literally what happened to me the very first time I played. Like, I walk out of the door, and he immediately fires, blows my main gun off. Just shoots it right the hell off. I had a, basically like a heavy core, a heavy quad, a radar head, and 2 lightweight arms. It was just the lightest thing that I could make work. And so yeah, walk out, main gun blown off instantly. Try to use the backups from that point. And yeah, that goes about as well as you'd probably expect. So, second gun gets blown off, then he flies into the air, blows my head off, and then I'm just standing there like, really, have my friggin' machines missing? This is an interesting intro, why have I heard weird things about this game? But yeah, exactly, lowers defense too. Ooh, holy crap, that was awesome. Got the full berserk. The full berserk! Get that false strike crap out of here. Can't really fix it yet. I forget, can Lord use Mother's Mercy? I never tested. Yeah, I do need to remove debuffs. I never checked if Mother's Mercy was available. Like right now, I'll deal with the stagger and everything else. Just kind of speed star through it. So speed star kind of helps to shake those things off, because it speeds up how fast your ticks go, and you just basically have a certain amount of ticks that you have to go through your debuffs. So I kind of count it as a half counter measure, that sort of thing. Anyway, so to get back to my previous point, though. So speaking of things with terrible intros, the other day, like, I absolutely love Wartha. Like, it's, as far as online games go, it's definitely one of my favorites. So, you know, we end up getting this PS4 thing, and I find out that, yeah, it's on there. Holy flipping Christ, do the default controls suck. Here's the thing, they have a simplified version. It's the standard for the PC version. It's actually the standard for most of the PS4 version. For whatever ungodly reason, when the intro starts, I don't know if it bugged out, I don't know what happened there. You're stuck in first-person mode, and on top of that, you're stuck in the ultra-realistic controls. On top of that, they have a system that just doesn't work anymore, because they give you a technically, I believe, impossible plane for the very intro. They're like, okay, here's a biplane with like later cannons from the 40s on it. So you've got you've got cannons on a biplane, which is just friggin' recoil like nobody's business. So you're driving the slowest crap plane in the wind. Like, there's a bunch of wind going on for some reason. So it's throwing around your aim all over the place. You've got cannons that the second you fire, they go around everywhere. And then on top of that, they make you fight biplanes. So in earlier versions of that thing, I would assume how it went is, oh yeah, there's no wind mechanic. You know, there's not as much recoil on the cannons, so you just run up and you completely wreck these biplanes, and that's it. Instead, once they added all the like hyper realistic stuff, like to give you an idea of why it doesn't work, the construction for biplanes, they're basically like a light aluminum shell plus canvas on the wings. So what's happening is, if you hit the wings at all, those cannons are flying faster than a machine gun would, so they will just fire straight through it. So they'll just, punch little holes in it, but that's about it. So then you have another option, like, okay, so you hit them in the center, except it punches through most of the things in the center. It's got too much it just shoots straight through it. So like, what options are you left with? Well, you basically have to hit them right in the gas tank. And right in that intro, they're like, okay, take this horrible control scheme that for some reason we made the default only for that one part, because I have a feeling they didn't update this intro in like a decade or whatever. Because yeah, you can tell it's like in a lot of MMOs they have this, where you had like a way older version of the tutorial. They just never changed, and so that's exactly what happened there. Just old as hell version, and they're like, oh yeah, go practice on these two planes. Just go practice. They give you 15 seconds to take out two planes that are A, pretty reasonably far away from you, and B, you have to snipe them both right in the gas tank. Eventually, oh yeah, by the way, you can't start the game until you actually go through the tutorial. So despite playing it for years, I was having the hardest time getting through the flipping tutorial. Anyway, so here's what's funny though. So you know how I finally ended up beating it? Because it glitched out. Like, I ended up shooting one of them right at the very end of the tutorial. Ended up accidentally crashing into one of the other ones, because I was just trying to be right up their nose. It reset the entire map, but it forgot to get rid of that plane, whose pieces then fragmented into different chunks and just hit both of them out of the sky right at the very start. I was like, you know what, there's really nothing better I could have asked for here. That's just the greatest thing I've ever seen in this game. Which I actually have a clip of, and I need to figure out how to move stuff from the PS4 to YouTube. As soon as I do that, it will be there. Because yeah, it was pretty darn amazing. Like, I think it got all of it. I didn't actually check if it did, but it was pretty amazing. Let's see. There we go. So you think destroying legs is what makes them hit the environment more? That's why you gotta stay towards the center. Just try to control his movement that way. Like, if you stay in the center, you generally will have an easier time of it. Because when I was doing it, it had to be right between the pillars. It was like dancing a pretty freaking tight circle. So broke his legs, and then just basically kept guiding him into low skates, and just kind of hitting him over and over that way. Honestly, boy, jeez, that was weird. I just had chugged a bunch of coffee, and you know how you have that like sudden bubbling up out of nowhere? That sucked. Also, wow, these guys really, really need to stop with all these driving cuts. They're wrecking me here. But yeah, this build can do it. This is the one that can do it. It's just a matter of surviving all those driving cuts. Thing is, the easiest thing, if I had an item that potentially had slow ward on it, that might be the way to go, because unfortunately I can't get rid of stop ward. Be right back. Nobody died for a long time? Yeah, it's gonna take a minute. That's the thing, this can happen, it's just a matter of wearing them down. And then once a couple go down, it just kind of cascades from there. Just getting that first one, because you can tell everybody is more than halfway at this point. Once that top area clears up, like their healer just showed himself. So if they come in with only one healer, that's a bit of a different story. But they came in with two. I think possibly even three. Yeah, the Draconic guys are a bit of a problem because actually avoiding it's problematic. Dang. That being all accurate and crap, dude. So we can slowly wear down here, maybe get rid of some of them, then go for the healers, then go for cleanup after that. Okay, that's okay. Okay, fast recovery turn then. Go for this. This. So yeah, they can do 150, but they're easily taking that much in a single round. Thing is, every time he's countering, he's doing 100, sometimes 150 on crits, and then if he gets a Berserk off, that ends up healing a lot, or it ends up doing a lot more. So this is possible. I may end up just doing this, like, post-commentary at some point. If it doesn't end up succeeding here, because I do have to pretty much call it for the, well, for the moment anyway. And I wanted to do some OB64 later today. As much as I keep promising to go do the Cerebro mod, been really hankering for some OB64 lately, as well as this. It's fast recovery turn. Ah, you suck! Stop dispelling! Okay, so yeah, friggin' dispel healer there's annoying. Yeah, I think that 25% hit just ended it. Going for a just driving cut again. Yeah, it feels like it's gotten into a stalemate situation here. Let's hope Parry and Evade don't backstab you. Well, I mean, they're holding up okay. This honestly feels like a stalemate to me. Because I can adjust it just enough to make him survive. I probably should have dedicated a turn to putting on Generate. Might have potentially helped out a bit. Yeah, I think we're just going to call this a stalemate for the moment. Funnily enough, if I go for a risky move and put these guys to sleep, that might do something. Let's go for a stop. Actually, if I can get within range of the healer and throw the stop out, that'd be the best one. That's going to be the hardest for them to get rid of. Throw this out, throw a heal out. Wait another turn, and be right back again. Okay, I'm back, and you know what? Had a bit of a think, and I know how to do this. Okay, so here's what we do. First off, we're going to go ahead and rely on... just go ahead and rely on Divine for everything healing-wise. So, here's what we do. This is an idea I kind of tossed about earlier. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and retire Field Alk over here. Sorry, playing with one hand at the moment. Gotta deal with other stuff, which sounds really wrong. Anyway, let's see. We might want to use Siege, actually, in place of some of their stuff, but what I want is Phalanx. Now we're gonna do the old Bode Oz strategy. Can I potentially sacrifice anything else? I think I can sacrifice Berserk for this one. To be able to get Siege. And why will become clear in a moment. So get rid of Siege, there we go. Alright, let's give this a try. This might make sense. This should hopefully not rely too much on RNG. Hopefully it shouldn't rely on anything else. Now, what's their problem? Their problem is numbers. What's a good way to deal with numbers? Stick them in a box. How are we going to do that? Just watch and see. So, there's a bunch of spots on this map that could potentially bottleneck a whole bunch of units, and specifically, they seem to like getting themselves all stuck in one spot. So what we're going to do, kind of similar setup to before, but we're going to do it a little bit better. So first of all, you're going to want to come down here, go ahead and get that Envenom going. So we'll get that started. We're going to hang out over here for a little bit. I wanna fight that dragon. Throw out 2 Phalanxes. Gonna want 2 of them kind of blocking off 2 very specific tiles there. Well, let's see. When did Witch Daemon come out? If we're thinking that's a reference to it. So anyway, Phalanx has a cost of 40 now, as opposed to its original cost of 75. So what we're gonna do here, we're actually gonna go over here. Do this whole skill thing. He doesn't have Rampart Aura. Okay, whatever. Let's try that again. This time with slightly more Rampart Aura. Right. He needs to actually have it equipped. So what we're gonna do, let's go get rid of Berserk for Rampart Aura. Let's get that for Phalanx. Instead of Field Alchemy, let's get Rampart Aura. I think he's only got rank 1, but whatever, it'll do. He just needs to have something in there. Alright. So we're going to go ahead and do that. He's essentially going to use... we're essentially going to cause a bit of a block here. So what I want to do, I would probably use the upper area to block stuff off, but basically what we're going to do, we're going to go over here, we're going to toss a couple Phalanxes right here. That'll block that area off. On top of that, we're going to toss probably 1 here and 1 here. This will leave this area as a giant block. At that point, actually, if we can just wall off this area entirely, that'll be perfect. And then up here, we just basically drop Phalanx right on this tile. Let's probably drop one right here. Using Escalade, that will essentially mean that this area, for anything that is unable to do a jump of 3, will essentially just be a giant prison portal. So that's what we're going to do. Let's go over here. I'm going to go ahead and do Arts of War and Venom. Yes, I like this plan. So this should potentially take all of their melee elements and leave them completely worthless, leaving me to go deal with their casters as well as their healers, take care of all that nonsense, and once that's done, I'm going to be able to come on back, deal with these guys one-on-one. So yeah, I think that sounds like a pretty good plan, just like having 1v1 basically everyone on the map. Kind of go ahead and nullify them numbers. Okay, skills, Phalanx. Okay. I'm gonna drop them over here with the hope that they maybe come around the bottom first. Okay, now let's go ahead and throw that Regenerate out here. Again, still kind of playing with one hand here, so apologies on that. So he's gonna stay here. His old plan is basically to go full dumpster fire on this. Because I don't like calling them by name and just build walls all over the place. I still can't believe that that whole situation's happening. It's funny. It's funny. Like, man, right now in the States we have this weird thing where suddenly stuff is kind of coming back to sanity. Because for the last couple of years it was just like you turn on anything and you can't even avoid the news. There's like stupid crap going on all over the place. Like, yeah, we definitely need a giant wall across one of the largest land borders in the world. That'll totally work. And yeah, like for friggin' months, and then it turned into years. Like, yeah, no, we need millions of dollars to make, or friggin' billions. And like every time that they mention it, the number ends up going higher and higher. Like, oh yeah, we just need like $500,000. Oh yeah, we need a few million. Oh yeah, it might take a few billion. Oh yeah, now we're getting into the trillions. Yeah, no, what do you mean? I was talking about that number the whole time. Over and over and over. Ah, oh, it's some dumb crap. Okay, so they're that phalanx. Oh, you know what? I did this really inefficiently, actually. I probably can just drop one over on the left there. That'd be an idea. Anyway, so it's a little inefficient, but whatever. Worst case scenario, we'll do this again with that one little change. So whatever, fair enough. In fact, it doesn't even necessarily need to be a sword build for this one right now. All I really need is just to build up a bunch of walls here. I'll turn on Escalade as soon as there's an opening in these lines here. So he's going to get surrounded. Eventually one of them will move. And at that point, I'll just turn on Escalade and we'll get on out of here. Ride that Escalade on to victory. In fact, let's go ahead and just do this. Good, nobody else is coming to help you guys, so... Let's see, damage, damage, damage. He's still gonna stay awake. Yeah, interesting, I'm not sleeping. I'm not seeing the sleep effect taking effect here, but whatever. Yeah, why are these guys... Yeah, they must all have sleep ward on them. Whatever. In that case, you know what, whatever. Let's go ahead and redo that turn. Let's go ahead and put a speed star on here. Let's go drop one more phalanx that I need over here. And then we'll start working on luring them into this trap. So... let's go skills... I am an idiot. I'm an idiot! You're an idiot! I don't know if anybody here watches the Grinch 1,500 times around Christmas. It's in the old Jim Carrey one. There's this pretty great part in it. He's over there trying to outsmart his own echo. Finally, at the very end, he's tired of hearing himself. So he's like, oh, you're an idiot! Or no, he yells out, I'm an idiot, and then he just hears back an echo of, you're an idiot. That's pretty great. Now... no, let's go turn on Escalade. Alright, so we got that going. Now let's just leave that sucker right there. One of these dragons are going to move. We're going to fly on up here somewhere. Yeah, whatever. See, the funny part is, if you lock in an AI completely, they will completely freak out and have no idea what to do. Like, if you lock off any particular route, they will be break in half. Because the game just never expected you to be able to do that. It's more than likely why, in the original version, they decided to make Phalanx so expensive. Because, quite frankly, Knights did not have the TP generation to be able to afford Phalanx. Like, even with Tactician and all that, because they were one of the few classes that actually got access to Tactician, they just couldn't do it. Like, it was... friggin' 75 is ridiculously expensive. But, anyway. So, let's go ahead and do one of them dealies here. Okay, we can drop a Phalanx, that's pretty perfect right now. There we go, drop you right there. We'll probably just use the turn to heal a little bit. Actually, yeah, we're just gonna go for a regenerate. He doesn't need that much, he's pretty okay in health right now. He's covered on most of his sides. Plus side is, using this strategy, he's actually pretty much immune to missile attackers as well. Pen is blue. Dies. And is red. You know why? Because it was probably used to stab a dragon in the face. That's what you get for being a dragon. Oh yeah, so I was talking about pork and dragons earlier. Yeah, I know. Weird combination of topics. So I was going through that whole Aspyro thing, And yeah, it was generally a pretty pleasant experience. And then there was one specific part. So like my wife's playing, and it's like I don't get it. The game threw me down this hole, and I just can't get back up, and it seems all mean. So I go back to that part unknowingly, and end up going back to a relatively similar area. You know, and I'm seeing a thing that's like a giant fake sign that says, "Oh yeah, just go jump down this hole." I'm thinking, okay, you know, that's pretty funny, and it's pretty clever. And anyway, so I avoid the hole and I turn around. And they've got a bunch of unique enemies in that particular level. Oh, hang on, one sec. I swear the kids do not want me to tell the story. Anyway, so there was I was joking that one of the designers had a very spiteful day that day. It's okay, they've got the giant fake, you know, you basically can't 100% level because you drop down the whole thing. But on top of that, you look over towards the other side, and it's just a comically long row of three of the most annoying enemy types in the entire game up to that point. One thing, you've got these giant boar things. Typically, if there's a giant charging thing, the strategy is, like, you've got two main attacks. You can charge at something, or you can burn it. So you're supposed to pretty much outflank this thing and burn it in the butt. And they're basically in little tiny areas, so it's kind of hard to do. And then they've got these guys with a shield and a knife. And so what they do is they basically just, like, as soon as you start going close, they charge you with a shield, knock you backwards, hit you with a knife. You've got what could essentially be seen as 3 hits that you can take. There's like 15 of them in a row. So you hit one, the next one behind it attacks, you beat that one, the next one behind it attacks. On top of that, you've got these frogs on the sides that will eat you and throw you in the water, taking away 2 of your 3 hits there. And just like, god dang, it was so spiteful. Oh, and we are now crying over what appears to be literally spilled milk. Hang on, one moment. Alright, so it's occurring to me that maybe teleport might be an option here, too. But anyway, we actually can just probably 1v1 these guys pretty effectively. Probably want to do is throw out a... we don't have Berserk anymore, that's fine. Probably throw out a Bad Blood. Using that over and over should hopefully take care of a lot of problems here. It basically counts as crushing, so it's more effective against a lot of things, plus has Venom on it. So it's kind of the new go-to hit move. In the original, typically the go-to power move for swords was Cherry Ronde. This seems a bit more effective. And this one. Oh yeah, but anyway, so what I was getting at is, yeah, so pretty much no matter what you did, you were getting hit in that part. They even had one section where you actually could not glide to where you needed to go, so you were guaranteed to take at least one hit. Every time you restarted, they reset your health at least, but it's just... Some designer was feeling super pissed that day, I guarantee it. There's just no way they were having a good day. Okay, just do that for the sake of keeping pressure on. Now I'm gonna throw a second phalanx out here, because this one to the right of him is actually about to die. Oh crap! 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 That was weird. Okay, and turn. He's facing the wrong direction. Fantastic. And of course, they found an angle to launch a WAP from. But yeah, this is doable. I'm pretty sure this isn't the time that I'll get it, because I kind of timed it a little bit wrong. What I needed to do is actually get out of there sooner. So, by coming forward, dropping one to where that rogue is on the left, that blocks off that entire area without taking 2 turns to do so. Then from there, essentially using that as a little bit of a buffer, I can potentially kind of lead them up the stairs, get all the melee guys in one place, and then upon doing so, would be able to block off that place, then go around, fight them from the other side, slowly wall them in, and then go deal with everybody else. So I think that's what has to be done. But anyway, I have to get going at this point, so thank you guys for coming by. It's been awesome and everything. And yeah, I think it'll be time to try that whole Japanese version speedrun at some point. I have a few little things to optimize, but I think one of these days it's possible. So, have a good day. Take care.